What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So massive shout outs to Abraham Muhammad, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As The Earth, Chow Yun Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Jeranism, Joshua Balsimo, Kirsten Smith, Life is Short, Matt, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Renee, Sally Ballis, Sam Hine, Skeptic936, Texas Mike, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker and Tom Perkins. So big shout outs to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now, we're currently joined by 10th Man in G+, and a few people on Discord, although haven't heard a great deal from them. How are you doing, 10th Man? Good to have you.
Oh, good to be here. Doing great.
Ace, if we do anything from Discord, I'll just show them on the stream once they actually pipe up.
Well, we got a date from
For
NASA.
what? For what?
I'll read it. It says on July 20, 1969, America landed on the moon. Since then, no one has landed on anything. Now, an official at NASA is giving a date for when man can land for the first time on another planet, in this case, Mars. Quote, unquote, I suggest we can do it by 2035, Chief of NASA Jim Bernstein said on Monday.
They've only been claiming to be getting to Mars for the last, well, for my entire lifetime.
I love it.
Nothing new.
I thought the Mars rover got there, right? I know there wasn't supposedly a guy on it, but
What a load of old nonsense. They're not travelling to the lights in the sky, because the journey they claim they're going to be doing is going to take place in a second law of thermodynamics violation. They're not going to be travelling through outer space, a sky vacuum. It's a preposterous notion. Completely debunked by the fact the medium's totally bogus. There is no outer space. There is no sky vacuum. They're not going to be travelling through it to a rock they claim is in that vacuum. It's all bunk.
it sure is. And I love the psychology of this because Flat Earth is demolishing, showing that junk of outer space. So they put out these false claimers like, oh, well, we're going to go in 2035. So that means we got the technology and space is real.
Yeah, as long as you're begging the question that the journey may not or may take place in their second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum, then who cares when it's going to take place or what's going to take place or what they're claiming is going to happen or what they've claimed will happen that hasn't happened. So long as you're begging the question and assuming that there is a sky vacuum, everything's golden as far as they're concerned.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I'm looking at the comments underneath. One guy put NASA, never a straight answer.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, yeah, the flat earthers are on this feed. Our good friend Darth put out mirrored a sun setting that Dearth did on his channel. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, he's done a load of them, showing the sun fading out as it goes beyond the diffraction limit, away from you, as opposed to down as the Earth rotates. Horse shit that they say the cause of the sun is. What cause of the sun setting is.
Yeah, can we get Ranty with his new drone to do same thing so that we can validate it from where you guys are at?
I think he will do at the moment. He's just dropped his permanent schedule in favour of actually doing real work to earn a living, which is perfectly understandable. It's been a really tough month, so of all the months of it being the case that he's like, I need to actually earn some money, this would be that month, because it's just a tough month. I don't know I haven't looked statistically if it was the same last year. I don't think I was even earning any money last year. But anyway, either way, he's picked a month where it's particularly difficult if you're a YouTuber. So, you know, the strings are being pulled tighter, or however you phrase it. Purse strings are getting tight.
Well, it's funny you said that, because I know people in the restaurant business, and October is that cyclical yearly tough month as well for them for some reason. Is it people going back to school, or I don't know, something?
Yeah, very strange. But there we go. That's just one of those. In his sort of video explaining all this, he was saying, you know, he's going to be back to being more of a sporadic YouTuber as he was before. Understandably so. You know, you can't keep a schedule and a full-time job at the same time. So, you know, you kind of have to do one or the other. The amount of dedication it takes. High risk doing YouTube. But in order to have any chance of success, you've got to basically dedicate your life to it. And, you know, Ranty wasn't quite there yet. So he's trying to just basically burn the candle at both ends. And you think, well, that's never going to succeed. And as much as I recognised that early on and was trying very hard to work with him and say, look, let's work around schedules so that you've got a bit more time and things like that. And he just didn't have enough hours in the day, basically. That, you know, I saw it early on, and, you know, he made himself ill. And, you know, that's just unfortunate. Unfortunately, he can't dedicate himself to YouTube, because I'm sure a lot of people would like to see non-stop Ranty streams. I enjoy his show, and I'm sure we will see more of him. You know, he's not going to just disappear, just a hiatus. So we will see stuff. He's got that drone and he's keen to do it. He's not going to disappear, but by the same token, he can't just keep a 4 daily schedule with live streams day in, day out, late evening, and earn a living. So it's just one of those things. One of them had to go. YouTube's going to be the thing. Doesn't mean he's disappearing. It just means he's not going to do his permanent live streams on a schedule.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But yeah, to answer your question, I'm sure he will use some great drone footage.
Yeah, in fact, if anyone's from a hearing distance of this show, and if you have a drone, do it yourself, and let's just plaster the internet with it.
Yeah, mind warped flies drones, but again, due to extremely limited YouTube success, kind of got sick of the community pretty quickly. And I've at least on at least 2 occasions, I've heard him say, "I'm sick of it. I don't want to do this no more. I'm not interested in the community. It's all load of nonsense." Not the subject matter. You know, he'll always have the disclaimers, obviously, and observably flat coming alongside that. But it's like, this arena's not a nice place to be. I'm like, yeah, depends on your outlook. Depends how thick your skin is. Depends on your motivation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, try door-to-door sales.
Right. Or sales in general.
Yeah, sales in general, which is what I, cut my teeth on, which was very difficult
Same here.
to get over the rejection, and a lot of people quit.
Same with Paul, same with you, same with myself. So we've all walked that, trodden the beaten path, or whatever it's called, and it does toughen you up, thickens your skin.
Yeah. That was probably one of my greatest learning experiences in life, was to ability to handle rejection and bounce back and go make more sales.
I was a telemarketer in my youth, and I can relate to that. Like, it does stick in your skin.
Can you repeat that? You're a bit quiet, Righteous.
I said I was a telemarketer in my youth for like a little bit, like 3 months or something. And you do got to get used to like the rejection. So it does stick in your skin. You do get used to it. And it's like an off switch or something.
Yeah, you never want to call New Jersey.
Why?
When you're a telemarketer, you learn how there's different types of people. The one place that the people always act really mean to you is in New Jersey.
Fair enough. Just that type of person lives in that type of area.
It just means it was probably the 50th call he had that day from a stranger, and he's pissed off.
Right.
Good morning, all.
Hello, Paul.
Good, Paul.
Well, I mean, when you go to a mall or you walk in and the salesperson walks towards you, of course, they're trying to help you, see if they can be of assistance. But because of all the programming, no, I'm not interested. I'm just looking. And you already, this whole environment just changes because I don't want someone to try to sell me something. I just want to look.
I used to get around that. So in
Yeah,
a few of the shops I worked in,
salesman.
you'd get people that would... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I was a car salesman one time. That'll teach you a lot.
Yeah, when
You know
people-
you know what's amazing is that you get most car salesmen aren't college educated. You know what I'm getting at? But you'll get these people in there, and these car salesmen just tear them apart, just making profit on them on these cars. It's ridiculous. You take a college educated person, you'd think that they could get over on a car salesman, but the car salesman tear them up. It's kind of like the flat earthers against the globers.
Guys seen a film called Fargo? There's a scene in
I
Fargo.
did.
There's a scene in Fargo where the main protagonist is in a car sales. His job's a car salesman. It's right at the beginning of the film, and this guy's very annoyed. He's come to pick up his brand new car, and the bill's higher. And he's like, "I didn't want the sealant. I didn't pay for the sealant. I'm not having any goddamn sealant." And the salesman says, "Look, I'm going to go and have a word with my boss, and I'll see what I can do." So he walks out of the room, goes into the boss, and he goes, "You going to the Lakers game?" He goes, "Yeah." "Is that the kids?" "All right, not bad." Then he walks back into the room and says, "I've had a word with my boss, and he's got you 10% off that sealant." Just a total sham.
That's good. That's funny. I took
Just
my
goes to show
son.
you, just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you're smarter than everybody in the world. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, doesn't matter who you are. It's what you say and do.
My son
Define
wanted
scientist.
I didn't go there.
a failed used car salesman. How's that? Anyway, I was saying I took my son was going to get a car, so he says, "Dad, can you come with me?" I said, "Sure." So we're hitting all these sites on the internet to see where the type of car he's looking for might be, and from either a private seller or a dealer. So we find it, we make a schedule, we go. And so I say, okay, here's what's going to happen when we pull up to the dealership. And so I said, you can see a bunch of people lined up, and their eyes are going to be on us, and whoever's turn it is, if they have that kind of system, they'll approach us, and I'll say this, and he'll go away for a little bit. And I just kind of told him what was going to happen. And so sure enough, we pull in, and there's guys lined up, and the eyes are on. I mean, everything went to to the script. And I said, and then we're going to make an offer because we know the pricing. He's going to say, I need to go see my manager. Of course, he leaves the little table we're at, and he goes sees the manager. And I said, now he's going to come back. He's going to say this. And he came back and he said that. And my son's just loving it because it's just a game.
Yep. Segue away from the talk of sales, thick skin though it's related to. It's nice that some of the audience and even some of the the extended panel members are starting to distinguish a little bit between scientists and what we actually have in many or almost all cases, pseudo-scientists, just pretending to be scientists. It's nice that people are starting to get the distinction between the two.
Yeah, because the scientific method is narrow. And if you're going to say you did it, you better show the narrow route you took instead of saying, "Oh, we scienced the crap out of this, and this is what it is." Well, what was the DV? What was the IV? What was the CV? What's that? That's today's scientists. What's that?
I think people forget the first so-called scientist probably had no formal education to begin with most of the time. Just somebody out trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, but they have a system in place, but they don't follow it because it doesn't give them the results they want.
Wouldn't be a problem if the declaration of what they were actually holding up as proof was, qualified for what it actually is. Here's the correlation we've drawn and here's what it was based on, as opposed to the whole body of science proves our just so story. No, that's not acceptable. Not if you're going to call yourself science.
Yeah, where's the cowbell?
Where's the science?
Yeah. Well, they're working backwards, right? They want to get us in this matrix, so to speak, and get us thinking this way and believing these things. So they don't science, they get
Story.
us
They story.
with false science.
Yeah, they story. They make up stories.
Yeah, like the one I read today. We'll be on Mars officially by 2035. Sure, we will.
Yeah.
Maybe
I was watching one of the videos that Albert posted, Albert Einstein, yesterday, and he was talking about atmospheric pressure in that video, and I saw him walk through the process, how he calculated what the how much atmosphere or tonnage of air is out there, and of course he assumed R in his equation. So I'm like, okay, right off the bat, you've got an assumption, and then you built on that assumption.
Oh, yeah, it's a train wreck. Assumption upon assumption upon assumption upon violation of natural law upon assumption.
Speaking of which,
Sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
speaking of which, the 24-hour sun and Antarctic claim. Well, if I don't even know what the Earth actually looks like because they've lied to me with this assumption called the globe, whether there is or not 24-hour sun in the Antarctic doesn't prove a globe.
Correct.
It's so obvious.
I was trying to explain this to Anthony yesterday, so I got a bit of background because Spurs was apparently having a bit of a moan going, why is Nathan having a go at me? All I did was parrot off what you said you would accept as globe proof. And he didn't give the full context, which Anthony did, which took about 5 minutes. But after his context was given, I was like, well, your contextualization of this observation from the peninsula, the south tip of 3 different continents, doesn't give you a sphere proof unless you affirm the consequent. It's still the same exact rules. Just because somebody sees something in the sky or multiple people see the same thing doesn't prove anything about the shape of the Earth unless you assume that that's because Earth's a sphere in the first instance. So you'd have to be assuming that if we were here and we were going to make that observation for the sake of argument, that we would be travelling antipodal to ourselves when we made the initial journey. Well, so what? We just assumed that we're antipodal and then said, well, because we now see this, which would match up with how an antipodal position in relation to my starting point would map out with the heavens versus the globe Earth. So we're just affirming the consequent, automatically assuming it's a globe, and then showing something in the sky that matches up with that presupposition, and then saying because it matches the presupposition, the Earth's a globe. It's like, no, none of these are ever going to work out to be a globe proof, these observations of lights in the sky.
I mean, and even the gas pressure issue, I mean, if you assume we live in an open system, then you've got to figure out some way to keep the gas on the Earth. You've got to figure that out. You've got to work it out. But if it's a closed system automatically, then you would work at it in a different direction. So how do we have differential pressure in a closed system? Then you'd be working at it from that angle. So you're going to either assume one or assume the other. So instead of trying to work from either side or proving one or proving the other, you just assume and then try to build your infrastructure upon that. And isn't that typically how it goes?
Right.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Paul, and I think that's it in G+. How are you both doing?
Doing fantastic. Good morning.
Good morning. Very
Doing
good.
good.
We've got a few people in Discord. Good morning to you also.
What's up?
Sky? Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope. Beautiful light in the sky.
Nope.
But the presupposition of Earth radius. Any evidence of that?
No. It has not been
Nope.
demonstrated or proven by any means yet.
No presuppositional Earth radius. What about presuppositions of a molten iron core at the centre of that presupposed spherical Earth that they don't have any evidence for? Any evidence of that?
Don't have one. You don't have the
No
other.
way, Jose.
Hey, Chocolate. Good to have you.
Good morning, guys.
What do they say about volcanoes?
They're not, in their rhetoric, part of the molten iron core. They're caused by tectonic slip, causing friction that would generate that lava through the friction. And then you get a pocket of it on the crustal layer. This is their rhetoric, not mine. It's not like a tube from the centre of the Earth. Let's put it that way.
I don't know why the ballers don't argue that one more than they do. That's a pretty good one.
What, that you've got a massive, great big tube to the centre of the Earth?
I don't know about the tube part, but the volcano part.
What about it? We do have volcanoes.
Well, the volcanoes would say that it's hot under the ground, you know. I don't know if that's like everywhere, that the farther you go down, the hotter it gets. Is that true? You know, like anywhere in the world you dig, when you go down 8 miles, is it hot?
Yeah, from what I understand.
Yeah. They can't get past that point, so I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Beyond 12k, we don't know what's down there. Yes, it seems to be hot. Yes, we've got volcanoes. Yes, you can make lots and lots of logical inferences thereafter. But any evidence of a molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
Any evidence of Earth curvature?
Not from Pennsylvania.
Not from Tahiti.
Not in Georgia.
There was a guy yesterday on chat saying that he looks at the apparent horizon and sees curvature. And every one of us can look at the apparent horizon and we see a nice horizontal line. What's wrong with these ballers?
Even if it wasn't horizontal, what would that prove?
That his eyesight's bad.
It's an arbitrary position. It's not an actual position where you can visit and measure and drag a tape measure out to. It's going to move as you move.
That's why I use the word apparent in the description. And so it's a real easy fix. Get on an airplane. Go higher. Go to the mountaintop and look at it. Same thing.
Look at what? The horizon?
How can these ballers insist that they see a curve on an apparent horizon?
Right. Even if you did, who cares? It's a not actual location. I'm going to start to, unfortunately, nip the heels of flat earthers on, and they're not going to like it. It's like the horizon rises to eye level. Who cares? Not an actual position. Doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
Clearer day you might see further. Better lenses you might see further. Moving that position. So what does it mean? Well, not a great deal. So claiming that this position and its flatness proves flatness is just wrong. Claiming that it's an obstruction of a presupposed Earth curve edge, or the hump between you and a target that's further away beyond the diffraction limit of the angle you're viewing it at, all this horse crap is meaningless. You know, the horizon doesn't prove anything either way, as far as I'm concerned. And flat earthers who would tell people on the street, the horizon rises to your eye level as you go up in a plane. Yeah, well, that may well be the case. It may not be the case, but so what? Doesn't prove anything.
Now, from a secondary point of view, if I could continue this conversation, we know what fluid dynamics is, and that's what I brought up. I go, water itself would testify that it finds it level. And if you look at the Suez Canal, I think it's about 120 miles in length, and there's no, what do you call it? What do they call that thing when they raise the boat?
Oh, locks.
Locks, yeah, there's no locks. So knowing how water is and how water behaves, and there's no locks over 120 miles, and one sea meets another sea, well, doesn't matter what your eyes see. We know how water works.
Is that Billy? Who was it saying hello? I agree, by the way, 10th man, yes. Fluid dynamics, water, tangible, measurable, yes. Flat. At rest.
But don't you know, Nathan, that in the heads-up display on aircraft, the horizon drops. So that's proof that this water's curving. Come on, don't you know any better than that?
No, it isn't. So this not actual location in a piece of man-made technology proves water curves defying fluid dynamics. Wrong. It's wrong. No, it doesn't. I see Billy flashing, but I can't hear anything from you. I don't know if you're trying to rejoin or something. Got something to add, Billy?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why they call that line on that heads up an artificial horizon, because it's artificial.
What? And the actual horizon is an actual horizon, is it?
No, they just call on those heads up displays.
The apparent horizon drops below an artificial horizon. Okay, cool.
Very useful to know. So this artificial horizon is below the not actual horizon. How useful. Thank you. Good job, they got good gyros. Because what that tells me, if you've got a HUD and it's essentially working off the principles of gyroscopic motion, and you're saying that the not actual position of the horizon drops below the gyroscopic not actual, or what did you call it, artificial horizon, well, I would say that all that's doing is proving that the not actual horizon doesn't match a flat reference that you're flying over, because it moves, proving nothing either way. My original point. Hey, Owen.
Hello.
That's one for Zanuck, because he always, when this topic comes up, he always throws that horizon drop in the heads-up display.
Lovely. proving absolutely nothing. Maybe try dropping and rejoining, Billy, because you're just flashing away. I can tell you're trying to say something. You drop and rejoin, maybe refresh the page as you leave. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No. My senses would pick it up, especially with all the different motions that they claim.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon, given that there is an affirmative claim that the sky is a vacuum known as outer space? Any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
It's an absolute no way. Please demonstrate it if you think otherwise.
Definitely not.
Loud and clear now, Billy. Excellent.
Can you prove there's gas pressure?
Yes.
How about, you can have a gas without pressure though, right? Does all
No.
gas, do you believe that all gas has to be under pressure?
Can you tell me a circumstance where it isn't?
Well, just go walk outside your front door.
Wow.
And we experience gas at pressure.
I said, can you have gas
don't you know-
without having pressure?
Yeah,
Why do you
just
have to
ask
put
that.
the two words together? Gas,
David,
pressure?
David,
Can you just have
David,
one?
I don't want this to last
Can you just
indefinitely. David, you said, can you have a gas? You can have a gas without pressure. And I said, can you give me an instance where that is exampled? And you said, go outside. No. So is there another example where you can have gas without pressure? Or is it just that example where you go outside and experience gas pressure? Which is wrong.
All right, if you have a balloon and you blow it up and then you let the air out of the balloon, does the air that came out of the balloon, is it still under pressure?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Can you demonstrate that for me, please?
It was under pressure before you blew the balloon up. It's under the same pressure when you let it back down again. The fact that you increase the pressure with your lungs, compressing the air to blow the balloon up, and then returning it to its original pressure, at no stage in that process did it not have pressure.
It didn't have any pressure until you blew it up.
Yeah, it did.
How can you have pressure? How can you have a balloon that has pressure before you blow it up?
It's atmospheric pressure, equal on the inside to the outside.
What?
So it still has pressure.
Dave, he's not talking about the balloon. He's talking about the gas that you use to blow up the balloon was under pressure.
Sorry, I missed that little false equivalency that he dropped in there. Well done, Chocolate. Right. The balloon. Yeah, the balloon might not be having any additional pressure to make it stretch. But that doesn't mean the air isn't pressure. It is.
We ain't gonna do this again, are we?
Hopefully not. Hopefully that's the end. Well, that concludes the housekeeping. Hallelujah.
We actually got through it. I swear.
Okay, can we get a prayer for old time's sake, for all the fundies?
Radius Dominus Gravitas Spiritus Sanctus Arwin. Go in peace. In R you trust, fundies.
Amen.
Yeah, whenever Double D comes, he's always talking about lava and volcanoes and air pressure. But he never gets it resolved, it seems like.
Nice calm day on the flat earth.
I was just about to say, is this the calm before the storm?
You know, I was just thinking the best way to prove that we're under pressure is a vacuum chamber, because once you remove the substance, you have less pressure, so there's a proof of that. Well, spin would be the same thing. So if you want to prove that we're spinning, stop the spinning, then we would definitely feel it and notice it, wouldn't you think? You stop the spinning.
Nathan, how
Hello.
does a rocket work in space?
Say again, you're a bit quiet.
Sorry, how does a rocket work in space? I'm a little bit, that's the only thing, getting on my nerves a little bit. So how does a rocket work in space?
Doesn't. Space is fake. Any claim of a vessel in outer space, a second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum, is automatically bunk. So there is no space. It's like asking me how the gas lamp in Narnia works. Well, Narnia's not real, so let's not concern ourselves with how the gas lamp works. The medium that the lamp is in is fake. Equally, the medium they claim that rocket is in is fake.
All right, I watched this clip on YouTube. Have a look at it and tell me what you think. I've watched this, and this is actually quite compelling, I think, in my opinion, how a rocket works in a vacuum chamber. And this is Newton's third law of motion, visualize. So have a look at that if you can. For me, that is quite I don't know, it just, for me, it makes it look like it is real by watching this clip.
What's real?
Well, that a rocket can push off a vacuum.
Sorry, I'll say it again. Slower this time. There is no sky vacuum. So how this model works in a vacuum chamber is irrelevant because the sky is not a vacuum.
Well, then you're going to have to prove that the sky is not a vacuum then. You can't just say it's not a vacuum without proving it.
No worries.
What?
Not a problem.
Dude,
not
just
a problem.
walk outside.
Not a problem. So, as you've used a vacuum in your example, I'm starting to demolish your claim that you've just asked me to do, as opposed to say it can't be possible, and you're immediately talking. Why would that be?
Because I'm a chatterbox. No, go on. I'm listening.
Can you have a vacuum without a container?
Did you say, can I have a vacuum without a container?
Correct.
No, you can't.
Well, they assert that the sky is a never-ending, expanding vacuum without containment.
That sounds stupid as well.
Yeah, that's what they claim the sky is.
Therefore, what they claim doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, showing you a rocket in a vacuum chamber wouldn't be the same thing because they don't have a container in their model. So that'd be a false equivalence off the rip anyway. So
let's
and also, as the thrust is produced in that vacuum chamber, it's creating an atmosphere inside of that. So you start having gas pressure as soon as the rocket starts to burn. So it falls apart right off the bat.
So let's just try and spin it around in a slightly different example for you. What was your name? Is it... see it in grey. It's got a load of numbers at the end. Game something. Game Mercy, is it? Gamer Mercy? Total silence. I think he might have a mic issue. Yeah, can't hear you, my friend. So, I'll try and give you a different scenario. If, as has been asserted here on a previous occasion, I was to assert, with the aid of cinematography, that the sky was made of plasma, just for the sake of argument. And I say, look, in my movie, my rockets travel through plasma. Yeah. Then I show you a box with plasma and a rocket working in it. Does that prove the sky is made of plasma?
Oh, come on, Nathan. It's so easy to disprove it that the sky is a vacuum. Just walk outside.
Special pleading.
Well, they say that all the time. Well, for us, it's much easier because, yeah, if you're going to be walking outside and you're breathing air, that means that the Earth's not surrounded, enveloped by a vacuum of outer space, because if it was, we couldn't be breathing. Therefore,
Precisely.
walk outside.
Yep, precisely. Although we don't assert that, we
Well,
would
wait a
say
minute.
it with the assistance of natural laws that back that, as opposed to just saying, walk outside, point at the sky, special pleading, these natural laws don't need to apply to my sky, which is what they say. We actually back it with natural law.
Right. And don't forget, they're not claiming the vacuum to be there right in front of them. They're pointing up and then saying it is there.
Exactly. Special
That's
pleading.
different.
But didn't you guys know that if I take a barometer and I start going up an elevation, that starts to show less pressure in it? That's proving that eventually, if I keep going high enough, that there'll be an absolute vacuum up there. Come on, guys, don't you understand how this works?
Okay.
How did the pressure get there in the first place?
We'll get to that, Chocolate. So let's just use a little analogy. Would you first concede that all the gases are produced at ground level? Paul?
Yes.
So given that all the gases are produced at ground level, if I make a small scale analogy with a kettle, and I say that you're going to measure the particulate matter above that kettle at 1 inch above the nozzle, the spout, when it's boiling, and you will get a fairly high reading, and then you're going to put the same measuring equipment a metre above the kettle. You're going to get a slightly lower reading, considerably lower, but for this example, slightly lower. Then you're going to put the same measuring equipment a mile in the air, directly below the kettle. Do you think the reading's going to be even lower still? Of course it will. So you have the highest concentration where the gases were being produced from the kettle, less as you go slightly higher up, and considerably less, maybe none, of what that specific production method of gas was producing at ground level, even though you're directly above it a mile in the air. So you have a gradation based on the production being at its highest at ground level. Nothing to do with an extrapolation that involves a sky vacuum, because what was that you asked, Chocolate?
Where did that gas pressure come from in the first place?
Exactly. Where did you get the gas pressure in the first place? Paul?
I don't know. We just have gas pressure. I don't know. I don't know where the gas pressure came from. We just have it.
Well,
So
I
there
think
you go.
it's safe to assume it came from ground level. But in order for gas pressure to have established, as you said, yeah, there would have to be a limited confine first, a container, as they say, for it to find.
And now Coxo is in the chat posting a 5-second gif of the sulfur hexafluoride like he's fucking somebody. Yet too scared to say anything on the fucking panel. Well played, Kosho.
I love Matthews.
Yeah, thanks for interrupting that last part.
Sorry for the...
Go ahead, Owen.
Nah, they do it every time, don't they?
He's getting annoyed at a fundy in the chat that's saying that if you pump a man-made, very inert gas into a fish tank and watch it for approximately 60 seconds, you'll see that you can float something solid on it. And therefore, without a lid, it's contained. Well, what happens 3 hours later? Does entropy take effect? Would the gas eventually fill the rest of the available volume that it has available to it, given that there's absolutely no bonds between that gas?
Well,
it's unbonded.
I wonder, though, let's presuppose that setup, everybody would get out of the room and there would be absolutely no air motion. Would it actually sort of dissolve, or would it then stay within that spot?
Let's just get some clarity on terms. When you say air motion, do you mean currents within the already moving at high speed gas particles. Is that what you mean?
Yes, within the pressurized room.
Let's say there's no currents inside the already moving at very high speed unbonded gas particles. Do you think that, given that they are unbonded and free to eventually dissipate in between the gaps of the other gas particles, that sulfur hexafluoride will remain inside that fish tank indefinitely if there are no air currents and only the gases moving at high speed in all directions? What do you think, Arwin?
Well, I can speculate based on the information that you've given me, but I just wonder, would it actually... Yeah, look, curious nature, you know, I would like to see it. Well, you can't see it, it's invisible. But
let's try it with a more extreme example. Let's try it with a more extreme example. I just want to get it done with quickly. If I have a far more extreme example over a much greater prolonged period of time, let's say an old Land Rover left out in a field, will that eventually succumb to the effects of entropy, or will it remain completely intact and perfect forever?
Oh, no, I'm not saying entropy doesn't happen in general. No, absolutely.
No
I'm
worries.
just wondering if the air gas, the inhomogeneous gas mixture and that specific hexafluoride, if completely left to their devices without any motion within the room, if it would start to dissolve, like you're basically suggesting.
Owen, I was answering it. I didn't need a repetition. I heard it. Thank you.
I know.
Well,
I'm just
I don't need a third repetition. I just need
explanation.
space to answer it, Arwin. So, thanks. So, given that a solid object will eventually, just left out in the air, succumb to entropy, and that's a solid object, do you think that an unbonded gas will not succumb to entropy given enough time?
It depends.
No, it doesn't. It's a law of nature. Definitely doesn't depend. I can give you an affirmative answer right now. It absolutely will.
Yeah, goody.
Hey Nathan, if you watch my screen, I've got high-speed particles. I'm going to demonstrate what would happen with high-speed particles. Are you ready?
You've not got. You're not sharing at the minute.
Oh, I'm not. Okay, sorry. I'll share. And this is using their own rhetoric. How's this sound?
While you're sorting that out, I'll just reiterate that. I just want to reiterate what I just said. Entropy is a law of nature. It always applies.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Now, I've already done this once, but I'm going to put the gas around the sphere at high speed particles. Watch what happens. There you go.
Now, I don't normally like swearing on the show, but Anthony, in his very good video about the same subject, phrased it as follows. When you take away the gravity presupposition in Micwestian 2 space, this pictorial example of two-dimensional gas interactions on a blue dot, when you get rid of the gravity, and I quote Anthony, the gas fucks off into space.
He had me dying with that. Yep.
I just turned the gravity off on this one, so I'll do it again.
And
so,
again,
here we go.
And when you do, to quote Anthony, the gas... Let's not quote Anthony, let's quote an MIT professor speaking on the same subject in a slightly more eloquent way. The gas fills the available volume as per the second law of thermodynamics. The gas would fill the space.
Right.
How do they have a meter to turn off and on a concept? I don't get it.
Sorry, Rumpus from the chat says, you don't know what you mean by entropy applies. You mean the second law of thermodynamics applies, you moron. I have a quote from Rumpus that says that the second law of thermodynamics does not apply to Earth. So he's calling me a moron whilst correcting me about entropy, essentially the second law of thermodynamics is describing entropy, and he's saying that I'm a moron. No, we've got you on record saying that it doesn't apply to Earth, Rumpus, you complete moron.
Play it.
I don't have it to hand. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, is somebody going to quickly rustle it out just so it gets played? I'll just rewind the chat so it appears so people can see it on the what Rumpus said. I'll read it again. You don't know what you mean by entropy applies. You mean the second law of thermodynamics apply. You moron! No, Rumpus. You don't know what the second law of thermodynamics is or where it applies, as demonstrated by your contradictory statements. One made a couple of days ago, where you said you would never say such a thing as entropy doesn't apply to the Earth. And then we have you quoted on Ranty Flat Earth saying quite specifically that the second law of thermodynamics does not apply to Earth.
Oh, come on, Nathan.
There you go, I got it.
Rumpus is a mind reader, and he can interpret your thoughts better than you can translate them.
There's a better one in Master B. I just posted it in there. Snatch it up.
Where have you got me on record saying that entropy doesn't apply to the Earth? I'd never say such a thing. The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth.
That's very concise, Rumpus. You complete moron. You are demonstrably a moron, Rumpus. I don't know why you're criticising what's said here when you are fundamentally idiotic, as demonstrated by this audio clip, which we will all hear again now.
Where have you got me on record saying that entropy doesn't apply to the Earth? I'd never say such a thing. The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth.
Moron. You've got no right being here. You should be clinically institutionalized, Rumpus. You are stupid.
Maybe they're just confused and think that that entropy has nothing to do with the second law of thermodynamics. Maybe that's what it is.
You know, I really just don't get his statement at all, because if entropy doesn't apply to the Earth, then to what does it supposedly apply? Does that mean that it doesn't apply to anything?
But didn't you hear the statement?
The other way around.
Yeah, but didn't you hear the statement from Rumpus? He said he doesn't understand entropy. It's the second law of thermodynamics. So they're trying to separate it now, as if entropy has nothing to do with that second law, which I've heard before. So, yeah.
Now wait a minute though. If here I'm gonna pull up this gas law again, and he says if the sun is constantly adding energy to the system, wouldn't that increase the entropy? Let me show you, because I'm going to show you my little gas diagram.
Yes,
here.
yes, it would.
When I apply heat to it.
Yes,
okay.
The sun is a massive entropy generator, Paul. Yes.
So there we go. I'm applying heat, constantly applying heat. So is the entropy decreasing inside the container or increasing?
Increasing.
Increasing.
He would have to say that gravity decreases entropy. The sun would not do it. It would have to be gravity doing it, wouldn't it?
Gravity doesn't exist. Is the gentleman that brought up the vacuum in a chamber when he said it works, can he define works, please?
With the guy talking about rockets in a vacuum?
Yes, even though I'm begging the question and it's a second law of thermodynamics violation with implication, I want to know what he means by works.
Still here. He's on mute at the moment, though. I don't know if he's stepped away from the mic, but he can hear you. I can describe what he's talking about. He's talking about a pop bottle rocket being let off in a vacuum chamber, and then as the gas from the rocket's presumably chemical combination of different materials combining to produce an explosion out the back of the rocket, the chamber becomes pressurized and starts to make the rocket move forward. That's what.
Not in this video. Not in this video.
Sorry, say it again.
Not in this video. That's not it. Even though that's a belly laugh.
He's back now.
I've seen another one. I've seen another one with a 7-Up can, and it does exactly the same thing. But I think that is just because of the obviously the 7-Up, the chemicals inside, the liquid inside, it's just pushing on the walls of the container, and that's what makes it move in a vacuum.
You didn't answer my question. You didn't answer my question. In the video that you posted in Discord, define what you mean by works.
What do you think works means? What do you think? What do you mean by?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Wait, so you don't know what works means?
In your context, he's asking you what you meant by works. That's what he's asking you.
What does he think? What does he think I mean?
That's what he's asking.
Don't be silly about it. You know what works means.
Just calm down. Right, please don't ask him to divine your thoughts when he's specifically asking you to clarify what you meant. Just clarify what you meant by the rocket works.
Boy, it looked like it seemed to create a thrust, and it sort of obviously a thrust came out of it, and that's what we've been told. That's what happens in space.
So thrust came out of it because you have no movement in here, right?
Hold on, John. I don't think he's finished. Hold on, I don't think he's finished.
What is a thrust?
Go on,
Owen, hold on.
Carry on. Go on, Q. Let's go. Carry on.
See,
I'm listening.
You just got diarrhea of the mouth because you're a frigging.
No, I'm trying to speak, and you're just jumping in all the time.
Clown,
I'll be quiet. I'll listen to you.
Yeah, just tell us you'll be quiet 5 or 6 more times, you frigging retard.
Go ahead, Kiwi.
Sorry, what's your job again, my friend?
I just want you to shut up.
What do you do
you
for a living?
You just said you'd be quiet.
What's your job?
Now you're not being quiet.
What's
he
your
just
job?
wants to respond.
What do you do for a living?
Excuse me. Just need you to be quiet.
Pretender clowns like you.
Go ahead, Kiwi.
Yeah, I make more money than you little prick.
Sorry, this isn't about how much money we make. Okay, so what? Because I'm poor?
He doesn't have manners. He has no manners. I watch the show all the time. All he does is jump
your
in.
point.
He knows everything. But I'm gonna be quiet now. I'm gonna let him
shut up.
That's what he likes to do. Go on, then. Go on, then.
I just need you to continue being quiet. Not confirm that you're on mute, like we take the piss. Yeah?
I'm on mute.
Don't need you to... Try to pay attention to what I'm saying. I don't need affirmation that you're going to shut the fuck up. Just shut up! Go ahead, QE.
Yeah, I pulled his video out of Discord, and I was expecting to see what you were talking about with, a little pop rocket friggin' having the gas fill the container and not being a vacuum. I was expecting to see that, but that's not what this video shows. It just shows it combusting. It shows combustion in a vacuum. Yeah, well, you can have that with a fuel and a friggin' oxidizer, you retard. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's all I wanted, the clarification. That's all I wanted. Don't have to jump on me. I'm just giving you something that I've seen and I wanted to know answers for. That is it. That's all I wanted to find out.
No worries. Same conclusion as last time.
Yeah, you don't need to jump on me. I just want to, I saw it. I thought, okay, that's very interesting.
But you understand where the whole thing went left, right? He just asked you to clarify what you meant by saying that it works. He understands what the words "it works" means, but he just wants to hear your interpretation of it. That way we can absolutely figure it out and iron it out. That's it. But you went to the, you don't understand, it works. I mean, come on. You brought it to that level, bro.
And how do you know how much money I make?
Let's not go down this route.
I could just tell.
Who cares? I'm definitely the poorest person here. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, make sure you donate to Nathan.
Yeah, smash that super chat, blah, blah, blah. E-begging can wait.
He can definitely tell what my income is, really.
Yeah, I can.
I'd like to know how he does that.
Because you're on here every day.
I've tried my only trick. God, what am I going to do?
So I have a low because I come on this show every day, which I don't. I have a low income.
Do you want a computer?
Are
I have a
you
spare computer if you
sir?
want it. I can ship it to the US if you want it.
There's no need for this.
I'm on the show every day. You know where I am.
If he wants a PC, I can give him one.
There's no need.
I'm at work.
There's no need.
Every day on this show. So there you go.
Look, let's just not do this. There's no need for this ad hominem attack.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, if he wants a PC, I can send him one if he wants one.
He hasn't asked for a PC. What are you babbling about?
Oh, sorry. I'm babbling about something else. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So, what are you going to address that we've talked about the fact that the sky, A, is not a vacuum, and B, your demonstration doesn't even demonstrate thrust by the sounds of things? Or are we going to talk about our personal incomes?
Perfect. Thanks for that. Thanks for the answer, guys. Much appreciated.
No worries. Excellent. Now we can conclude. So the sky is not a vacuum, and demonstrations that take place in vacuum chambers claiming they're analogous to a presupposed vacuum that cannot possibly exist because it violates both the law of gas itself and the second law of thermodynamics means it cannot possibly be a vacuum. So any claim that comes from that region, the sky vacuum known as outer space, is automatically fake, including, but not limited to, the ISS pantomime. That is not in a sky vacuum. Yeah, we've got a light in the sky. No, it's not what they present on TV when they show you people doing somersaults in a second law of thermodynamics violation. On the crew on the Starship Enterprise deck, which it might as well bloody be when they show you on TV. So, no, all of that claim to be crap happening in that tin can in a violation of the second law of thermodynamics, all of it can immediately be discounted. You don't have to worry about the TV trickery. You don't have to be worrying about the picking apart of them being on high wires. You don't have to worry about the editing going wrong or the CGI layers blurring out. You don't have to worry about how their payloads are a load of nonsense in terms of the weights they're claiming they carry up there or the amount of money that they're spending to be in space. It can all be completely ignored. The sky is not a vacuum. End of all arguments that have a claim that they're taking place in outer space. Because it's not real. I don't want to spend endless episodes right near the 1000th mark where we're discussing how bloody rockets work in the presupposition of a vacuum. It drives me nuts. I'm not going to argue about how the gas lamp works in Narnia, or why the time dilation didn't affect Egmont when he came back through the wardrobe from Narnia, or why the footprints in the snow aren't melting as quickly in Narnia. Who cares? Narnia's not real.
That's a book, mate. That's a book.
Yeah, and on TV you've got a sky vacuum, like on Star Wars and Star Trek and NASA. Equally valid. Both, all three, just producing TV for you. Not proof. You're not getting up.
I don't watch TV.
You're not going up to the sky vacuum either, are you? To confirm any of this crap the wizards tell you? The wizards tell you rockets work in space. Well, how are you going to confirm that in Narnia? You can't get to Narnia. Only the wizards go there.
Yeah, Narnia is a book. You're referring to a book.
Yeah, I'm comparing it to outer space.
Well, you can't compare a book to what we have in real life.
I'm comparing it to space.
Analogy, mate.
We don't have outer space in real life.
Yeah, in real life,
Everybody
it's comparable
understands
to
this
Narnia.
analogy, bro.
It's just comparable to Narnia. Because
no, it's not. One's a book.
Yeah, and the
It's not
other's
real
just
life. Can you do science on that book?
Are you going to ever let me respond? I've heard you say 5 times it's just a book. Talking through my every rebuttal. Is this going to be another time where I've got to explain that I need to be able to respond to your shitty rebuttal? Or are you just going to continue to assert it 6 more times? Yeah,
Go on, then.
I don't need permission. Oh, he is that dumb. I don't need your permission to talk, Dumbo.
I'm talking to you.
I don't need your permission. I need you to shut your chops. That's all I need.
Do, because if I'm talking to you and you want to speak, I'm going to say, go on then, speak.
No, I produce this show. You don't give me permission, you stupid dick. So, nice and calmly. I'm not saying that we need to science a book. I'm comparing fiction with fiction. The sky is not a vacuum. That's a story you've been told on TV by wizards who claim to go there. Now, I don't need Edmund standing in front of me to make this a perfect juxtaposition between Narnia and space. It is both fiction. The reason is simple. Space is a violation of natural law, therefore is not real. Now, I don't need to argue about the spacecraft or the gas lamp in Narnia, because both take place in fake mediums, places which do not exist. Just because one's presented on the pages of a book and the other's presented on the newspaper doesn't make any difference to the fiction, proven by natural law. That's my comparison. Comprende?
It's not the same. It's not the same. At night, I see the sky. So do you see the sky? So where's that comparable to a book?
Yeah, you really get a wow.
Sorry,
and real life.
Sorry,
I don't
excuse
even
me.
understand.
When we see the sky, there. Oh, he's going to start fucking talking again, isn't he? Every time I start replying to you, Dumbo, do I need to tell you to shut the fuck up every single time I start talking? Are you so stupid that you do not understand how to have a conversation? Every time I start responding, you have interrupted me so far. Every single time.
I said yes to carry on.
That I wasn't leaving that pause so that you could give me permission. You stupid idiot. I'm leaving a pause to check whether or not you're so dumb as to respond again. Clearly, you think you need to give me permission here when I run the show. I don't need your permission. I need you to have half a brain and listen to the fifth time me pointing out that you don't need to tell us you're not talking because that's a contradiction. You just need to shut up and not interrupt me every time I respond to you. So, both are fictional. The region that they take place in. Doesn't matter if it's footsteps in Narnia or the spacecraft you came here with. Both aren't taking place from a region you can experience. So they claim you can experience a sky vacuum looking down on a sphere Earth. Is this something that you've experienced, like Edmund experienced time dilation in Narnia? Or are they both something beyond the capabilities of your and my experience? ? Over.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Are the views they get from the cupola of a sphere Earth second law of thermodynamics violation in a vacuum and, comparably, the footsteps experienced with time dilation by Edmund, are either of those two things experienceable by you and I? Number one, for clarity, because you've asked. Don't need you to keep talking. I haven't even paused for breath. Bloody hellfire. I'll summarise again for the dipshit that needed me to repeat it, and then interrupts the summary. Number one, footsteps being experienced in the snow with time dilation in Narnia. Number two, comparison of a sky vacuum with sphere Earth from the cupola. Can you experience either of these two things? Over.
I wasn't listening. I shut up.
No, you won't take part in the conversation anymore.
Thank you for that behavior. Appreciate it.
Yeah, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, just kick that fucking fake flat earther. I think Brendan wants to come on.
Just to summarise that point for the guy who thought it was so important to talk about money. All the money in the world won't buy you a brain, will it, thicko? Bye-bye.
I think it's more entertaining if Brendan...
Wow.
Yep, I could have said it better myself.
So, just to conclude, both Narnia and the snow footprints with time dilation and the view from the cupola will never, ever, ever be experienced by any of you watching or on the panel or me ever. They're both fictional places that you can't go.
You couldn't experience anyway. It's second law thermodynamics violation.
That's my point. Yeah. Exactly.
But you could think about it like it can go there.
What, Narnia?
Sure. You could just think about it.
I can explain the lamppost.
Who cares? You bastard. Who cares? Explain the time dilation that Edmund experienced. Like I care. I'm never going to go through the wardrobe. I'm never going to jump on a rocket and visit a second law of thermodynamics violation. Neither will ever happen. Both aren't real. Anything to add on this? Because I'm going to shout out some super chats that have been waiting for ages. No. Drunken Bullet 411 super chat and says, "Get yourself a sandwich, Nath. It's a ball." Well, thank you very much for the super chat. You feel free to express your opinion with money as much as you like. Thank you very much, Drunken Bullet. Really appreciate your support, seriously. And also, Jamal's 24 says, "Question for the Globers. Which came first, the vacuum or our atmosphere?" Thank you very much for the super chat. Jamal's 24. Hope I'm saying your name right. Really appreciate your support.
I just smacked Kosho in the Discord chat. He said heat does not increase entropy, it decreases. And then I just pulled out the video in the physics form and actually show where it says how heat increases entropy. And then he says, "Oh, I thought of it wrong." So he backed down really quick.
There's a reason. Hold on. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's the company he keeps. So he's got people like Rumpus overtly stating that to him incorrectly. So if you hang around with morons like Rumpus, you're going to get these things wrong because they're wrong and they're telling you incorrect, false, wrong information. And that's going to sink in and echo itself here, making you look stupid. It's the second time this has happened, Kosho. Do you still trust these people that give you this incorrect information to be humiliated time and time again, even from the chat, by flat earthers? I would cut loose to these retards, quick sharp.
This particular subject is 5th grade. This is primary school general science. The entropy issue. So to get that wrong, it's tantamount to Elmer Fudd giving the keynote address to a friggin' neurosurgery convention. Why are you even out here?
He's been given false hope about his religion of a sphere by people like Rumpus and George Netanyahu.
Wow.
Earth's not a
So
sphere.
now I'm bitchy. Okay,
it's just
cool.
a dying breed of fundies that have to change definitions and change their own rhetoric in the face of our absolutely obliterating points in regards to their religion. And that's going to be painful and, unfortunately for them, drawn out. The purveyors of these lies want to keep lying about it, and they're going to keep lying to you, the people who come here who are normies, the ones who profess to being experts in this pseudoscience religion of a globe. They're going to give you false and wrong information, and we're going to point it out every time. Doesn't matter if it comes verbally or not.
Hey, Pete Shea, what are you trying to say in chat? Kosho, military man. Paul, military man. John Huey, military man. 10th man, military man. By the way, I've never served in the military.
I was about to say, you're not a military man, are you, 10th man?
Ooh.
You're not military.
BJ just went into the military conspiracy of all this.
Well, I just want to make it clear, I've never served in the military, but I highly respect them and support them, and always will.
But without sounding disrespectful, again, who cares? I couldn't care less about Kosho or QE or anybody else's background. What they assert is all that's relevant here. And as sick as this may sound, if they were a convicted murderer, same principle would apply. If they were knighted, the same principle would apply. It makes no difference. The genetic
Totally agree.
fallacy.
Just want to set the record straight.
Yeah, but it's a genetic fallacy.
Of course it is.
Also an ad hominem. Well, probably not at this stage.
Well,
one would have been coming from
I
Pete.
just want to correct them. I just want to correct them that I've never been in the military. That's all.
Fair enough. I'm glad that the information comes because it often sounds like I'm telling you off in a way. It happened the other day, 10th man. I'm not. I want the information to come through. And again, I want it to come through so it can be shut down. But it doesn't mean I'm shutting you down. Just so that's clear.
I actually like it when you tell me off, so keep it going.
I'm not telling you off. I'm just shutting the incorrect assertion down, regardless of where it comes from. And often, you've got to have it flowing back and forth. But, sometimes people will take it personally. Spurs did it the other day. He came in and affirmed the consequent with travelling antipodal to yourself when observing southern star rotations. And he claimed that if you observed them from the peninsulas of the continents down there in 3 different locations, then that would affirm the consequent for him that it was a globe. And I kept on pointing out, well, no, you've got to beg the question initially and affirm the consequent to have that be a globe proof. And after about the 3rd time of him sort of saying, no, I'm saying if it's a globe. And me going, yeah, that's the point. By about the 5th time, you turn into a monster. Not because I dislike Spurs. Far from it. I just want the point to be concise and not be, poo-pooed for having used an if statement. It's like, that's not a defence. But don't take it personally, Spurs. I'm falling out with you. Doesn't
this dovetail on our pre-show talk about sales and being tough because you were in sales?
Probably.
Yeah. No, I don't take it personally. If you hear anything I say and you think it needs correcting, please do.
Well, that's what will be next from Pete Shea. Oh, Paul in sales, Nathan in sales, 10th man in sales. Definitely something suspicious.
I love it.
A shout out to Christopher Lees. He says, shout out to Rumpus, who has been benched by every channel. And, sorry, I have to move my screen. And cry from the chat. Sorry, that was a bit broken up. Thank you very much for the super chat, Christopher Lees. Really appreciate your support.
All right, what happened? Rumpus is getting benched from global channels too? What's going on here?
I don't follow the Rumpus, I don't know. Nor do I follow his plight in that regard, so I don't know. I'll take it as read, Christopher. Maybe. And who can blame them? Let's be honest, the guy's very silly.
Where have you got me on record saying that entropy doesn't apply to the Earth? I'd never say such a thing. The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth.
Do you know what I mean? Got about a minute left on the live show. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley.
Come on, Globers. 7 housekeeping questions. Almost 2 years. You haven't been able to debunk one of them. Please come on the show.
Ow. Developing a massive cramp in one of my feet just as I'm about to do the outro. Has anybody got anything to plug while I ow, ow.
Flat Earth Early Bird. Yay. Every day, 2 p.m. Amsterdam time. That's 1 p.m. London time. On my channel, ARWIJN. Come and visit us.
Thursday, we're going to do Rumpy and Brenda. We're going to get a twofer.
That on the Quantum Eraser channel, Be Here or Be Sphere?
Yes, sir.
And that's at 7 p.m. UK time and 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Quantum Eraser channel, Be Here or Be Sphere. And the Flat Earth Early Bird, which is on Arwin channel, ARWIJN, 2 p.m. Amsterdam time, 1 p.m. UK time. And I think it's like 5 a.m. Central Standard, right, Arwin?
Yeah, it's too early for the west coast of the United States, but east coast is doable. And I take the late night for the Australians and New Zealanders.
So just a couple more shout outs. So Kevin Byrne says, the QE laugh in the middle of that clip makes me laugh so hard. I paraphrase that slightly, but yeah.
Yeah,
thank you very much
perfect.
for the super chat, Kevin Burns. Also, shout out to Agent Dubsky. He says, shout out your gout. Right on. I need a banana. And a long one. I'll have to scroll around this one if it's broken up. I'm sorry. Hugs everyone on the panel while whispering, shh, shh, it's okay, it's okay. Then holds hug till uncomfortable, awkward. I don't really follow that. It's because I read it in a terrible way, drunken bullet 411. But thank you very much for the super chat. Really do appreciate your support. And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. And of course, a massive thank you to all of today's live panel for making this show possible. Be sure to stay tuned if you are watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Oh, that was quite a nice show. Very, very, very calm, laid back. I like those kind of shows.
Compared to some others, it was, yeah.
I think I've miscalculated because of the two show Thursday, Friday. I've miscalculated which day the 1000th will come. I'm pretty sure it will come on Friday.
Oh, so it's not Monday then?
No.
What show is today? 997?
Yeah. Wednesday. So 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Thursday.
Yeah, gotcha. It doesn't matter what day it comes
So
out.
it'll be Friday, but not the live show?
Well, it will be live, but it'll just go out to the limited audience. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So, I don't think it is quite a good thing because, if I'm honest, the people who are listening to this show right now are a far more focused audience. And I don't know if it might have even been you in the chat yesterday, Chocolate, pointing out how people are kicking ass in the chat. And it's that particular chat that's, I don't know, they're just that much more well versed in the arguments that they can just. I don't have to chat very much about flat earthy subjects. I can actually enjoy the chat feed going by for chit chat and laughs and sarcastic jokes rather than debating scummy globeheads. But when they do come in, I still don't have to do it because there's normally someone in the Nathan Oakley premiering stream chat that just rips them a new one with one line. And the only ones that seem to manage to stay around are like, let's think of a neutral James, what's his name? Is it James? Could be James or Jonathan or something like that. McCormack, he's a concave earther. Do you know what I mean?
James McCormack?
Jason. Is it Jason?
Jason.
Right. It's just, I know you don't like him. I know this is probably going to make your blood boil right now, Arvin. Straight away, you're like, who? Jason McCormack? But he's just, as far as I'm concerned, he's just benign. He comes in, asserts a bit of his rhetoric with a bit of logical fallacy, and wishes everyone happy concave week every time he comes in. But ultimately doesn't get into any really deep, fundamental discussions with people. He's generally just listening, right? And chatting a little bit, maybe having a bit of a laugh of his own with his concave rhetoric. Well, that to me is about as bad as it gets in the second channel chat feed. Whereas on the main show, which is still rattling by now, it's a totally different. It's the pits. You know, that it's totally different. There's very little moderation. Nobody's banned there. So it's just like, it's just the pits. Anybody can come along and, you know, put their comment in. And you do occasionally see, you know, people like Dirth and Mark Sargent. They'll drop a comment in occasion, very rarely. But, you know, it's just, why would you want to chat in that particular chat thread? The 1980 one, I mean.
Yeah, the premiering stream chat, they don't stand a chance. Ballers don't stand a chance. They come in there and just get destroyed immediately. It's actually fun to watch sometimes. Sometimes I don't even type. I sit there and watch while I'm eating dinner or something. It's just laughing. It's hilarious.
The only one who still does of any note is George. George will still come into the second show premiering stream and argue with me. And That's about the only time I get to actually have a proper debate with somebody in that stream is George, because he just seems to have the stamina. As much as I take the piss and call him old, he definitely has the stamina to stay in there and face the barrage that comes from me, right up to the point where he'll still be chatting in the face of me spamming the winning point that we've just debated about 50 times over and over again with various crude comments attached to it to try and rile him into actually addressing anything I've put. He doesn't, but the fact that he can endure that is a testament to his ability to literally stick his head in the sand when it comes to losing an argument and just tune it out. I don't know how he does it.
I find it funny that as much as they declare that they hate the show, they can't seem to stay away from it. Like even yesterday, I was on Discord and talking to Zanuck, and at one point, what did he say? He said, "We're trying to boycott your show, but apparently somebody gave me the go-ahead to go on the show." I was like, "That's cute. You have somebody that gives you the go-ahead to come on the show. Very interesting." But yeah, apparently even with a boycott, they're compelled by something to come here. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're winning. We're taking apart their religion. No matter how much you want to go, la la la, we don't care. When it still continues, they're like, we do care.
Well, this is where all the fireworks are at, right? We're in the front lines. We've heard it before, tip of the spear. No matter which way you come, you better have your argument well rehearsed and know your points, because you're going to be taking the task here. And they can't stand it when the Baltards come here and lose every time. So how do we get on that show and win something? We got to do it.
Well, they're certainly trying.
Well, they're losing like heck. They come with...
But what they're trying isn't even really about the winning. It's more about just trying to paint a picture to convince the more gullible of mind and the easily tricked. Because they're all systematically applying mind tricks. Very persistently, all of them. And they teach each other how to do it.
Well, that was obvious because
I think at this point there's just damage control. They are trying to salvage whatever they got because they have no arguments. So basically, they're trying to keep all the people that could switch over to flat Earth and could wake up to this shit. They're trying to keep them from that. That's all I see. It's just obfuscation and tactics. They don't have any real arguments.
That's why they deflect to, I have more money, so I'm smarter than you. So they go to income issues, and then they say, these people are military. Now, that's not the argument. The argument is, how can you have gas pressure without a container, buddy? Get on that subject and quit deflecting.
Thanks for that, Billy.
Ballers.
Hey, welcome back, Righteous.
Hello.
Hello.
Ballers. Come on, play.
Yeah, we're not unsympathetic. We do, we want to counsel you. We want you to share your pain.
Share your pain. When was the last time you saw Back to the Future?
Fairly recently, actually.
Here we go.
Why?
Which one?
All of them.
Really?
Yeah, I sat down with my wife in the last month or so and watched all 3.
And how was it different from before?
I love Back to the Future. It's a great movie. It's one where it's not got enough space in it to ruin the movie for me. Yeah, I realise it's using...
But do you take notice of all the things you've learned about it?
Oh, yeah. I totally ruined the movies for my wife. Look at this, look at that, look at this. That means this, that means that. This is predictive programming. That's bullshit. That's part of heliocentric rhetoric.
Right.
It's another layer deep, though, isn't it? So if you were around 3 or 4 years ago, Arwin, I remember you being here, so you can probably remember people pointing out in Back to the Future an azimuthal equidistant projection and going, oh, wow, they're planting the truth in plain sight. Now it's the azimuthal equidistant projection is part of a false dichotomy, and that's why it's there. So that if you scratch Formica deep and you come across that azimuthal equidistant projection in that movie, you'll do what we all did 4 years ago and go, oh, truth in plain sight. No, it's not. It's part of the false dichotomy they want you to argue should you ever try and argue this subject. So I'm sure that in 4 years from now I'll go, no, there's one more layer. It's just never ending. Just that's why I say burn your telly. It's all poison. Even looking into it and trying to dissect it is just as toxic as being completely oblivious to it and letting it brainwash you without even any consideration. So looking at it is toxic, being brainwashed without consideration is toxic, and going through the different layers of the onion to find how the programming is actually working on you or working on the masses, it's just, like I say, it's just going to drive you as nuts as being programmed by it.
Well, it all depends, the whole thing and everything about it, all these weird little details, they're a curiosity. So they're very interesting, but if you're going to use any of it for any kind of foundation in your argumentation or some kind of proof, then you're going to be in big trouble. Because there's probably more references, more angles to things eventually, and the foundations will turn out to be too superficial to really, have any weight anyway. And that's what a lot of conspiracy theorizing has been bumping into, is basically using certain movies or things, and then it all seems very interesting and even likely, but eventually it just falls apart.
Well, I think they've planted these seeds so that you build your own straw man for them to defeat at a later date. And now this is going out to a more sympathetic audience on the second channel. I can never remember the word that QE will remind me of in a minute, but talk about a video that Dirth's made. Now, I've already sent him messages a couple of days ago about this, so he's pointed out to me, I'm going to agree just with the principle, just so it's not pulled apart in my example. So just take it as read that DITRH is right in his assertion that the shuttle is a helium balloon. And it's been asserted by others. I think Jeranism's postulated something similar before. Let's just take that as read. Let's not argue about that. It's not the point. In the expose...
You know what?
Sorry? Go on. Are you about to address that very point that I've said we're not going to before I've made my actual point? I bet you are. Go on, Arwin.
Me? Yes. Considering the helium balloon, I have some vision-related references to that, because I believe that in my vision or before it was revealed to me about the space shuttle being a balloon. But even as I remembered that, which is now years ago, I kind of was scared to reveal it. But I'm totally behind that. Yeah, I kind of had trouble even believing it back then when it was revealed to me. I just was like, what?
Not my point. So the point is that in a video that DITRH recently exposed, and it was also backed up by Owen Benjamin, he's showing that when they fired the rockets on the shuttle, there would be a point where it would go up slightly whilst tethered with all the mechanical gubbins that they've got holding it to the ground. But then it comes back down again, slightly. And it's noticeable, it's obvious, and very easy to spot in the video that he's put together. So I dropped him a line and said, okay, not often that being an ex-NASA fanboy comes in useful, but this is a established detail that they've already noticed and already woven a narrative around long before it was, highlighted here. And the reason is simple. They've studied the mechanics of how that launch looks through multiple high-definition camera angles before we even knew what high definition was. So they know precisely the movement of everything, every angle of that piece of equipment, whatever it may be. And I'm saying take it as read. In this example, I don't even have to take it as read that it's a helium balloon. It doesn't matter what it is. That what matters is whatever it may be and whatever it does and wherever it goes or wherever it crashes into, at the point that they launch it from the ground and give you the video feed on the TV of that launch, that bit of the magic trick is the most crucial detail they're going to present to you. And they've studied it to the nth degree. So the fact that consistently this, let's call it a balloon, bobs back down again while the fireworks are going off beneath it, they already know, and they've already accounted for it. So the name of the effect is called the twang. Twang. The twang. And it's been not only explained away, and this, I'll get to my point about building our own straw man in a minute, this is why I'm describing this. It's been explained away and even woven into the narrative of the Challenger disaster when they studied the launch aspects. So it's woven into layer upon layer upon layer of their own bullshit. Why? Well, because they've studied the cinematography of what they're going to be presenting to us before they've presented it. So they know what it's doing, and they've already worked out every backstory for every particular angle and element of what it does as it does it. So that if anybody ever criticises it, as is the case right now, all they do is present their just so story and say, look, it's been described in every single launch throughout history, studied with forensic experts looking at it for the disasters that have befallen these poor astronauts. All that bullshit can just be parroted off, and suddenly it debunks the original assertion, which I said we'd take as read. Well, if you've got a straw man that you're building from within their narrative that they present to you, do you not think they're also going to present an option for them to undo your straw man that you put together with their information? Yeah, the layers are that deep, and this is a prime example of it. The fact that there is an explanation for the twang suddenly renders the claim in the original supposition put forward by Dirth or Jaron or whoever completely obsolete in the eyes of the public. Oh, look, they've already got a story for that, therefore you're wrong. Because they can explain it away with a just so story, having already studied their own cinematography. Well, of course they have. Of course they've got a story for it.
gigawatts, ballers.
So this is something, like I said at the beginning of the live show, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the flat earthers that build their own straw men. And you, 10th man, get brought back into the conversation here when I know you've already given your disclaimers, but when you're discussing the horizon or horizon dip in a HUD, it's just not relevant, and it's a straw man argument we put forward just so they can take it apart.
So do you think when Marty in Back to the Future said density, he meant density the way we say density?
He's supposed to be saying destiny.
I know.
I did puzzle over that when he said it. I'm like, why? That's not even a great joke. What's her name again? I've forgotten the mother.
Density.
No. What's the mother's name in the?
Oh, Marty.
No, the mother.
Oh, the mother.
Marty.
He says her name, and then he says
Lorraine.
Lorraine, you are my density.
Yeah, I remember that.
What's the mother's name?
Oh, they repeated that moment.
It's George. It's because it's George. He's a geek.
Yeah,
he's
George
trying to max to a lady for the first time. He doesn't know what he's saying.
The problem at this stage of the plot, Arwen, the problem is that he's seen his dad about to get run over, so he pushes him out of the way and gets run over himself, changing history, because his dad's supposed to get run over and have Lorraine dote on him with the Nightingale effect, as it's been dubbed. But instead, she's doting on her own son from the future, so he's got to kind of correct that. So he says, look, just go up to her and chat to her. Just, tell her she's your destiny. And he goes up, Lorraine, you are my density.
Right.
Oh, George McFly. He was good in that scene.
Tough man. Just make like a tree and get out of here. Okay?
Yeah.
21 gigawatts, ballers.
Yeah, it's his own self that corrects that in the later movies. So Biff from the future says he calls him an idiot, and he's like, it's Anne Leave, you idiot. Correcting himself from the past. Didn't work. We're going to have to find a new movie to discuss and talk rubbish about so that the fundies think we're an easy target.
So what do you think I was saying about the apparent horizon that was miscued?
That it's flat.
Yeah.
No, yeah, to perspective.
Right, but Nathan's point is that just whether it's flat or curved, it's an apparent place, so it doesn't really prove anything empirically.
Agreed.
But yeah, it looks flat. Sure.
No,
I'm
no.
with you
This is
there.
what I'm. No, this is what I'm saying. That is absolutely true. However, this apparent horizon, which is not real, to everyone else does look flat and horizontal, but these ballers claim that it doesn't. So it's like an argument within an argument that's not even real. How do they even see curvature? Is my point.
I see.
No one else does.
To be fair, you did a better job last time because you were like, well, the water that you're looking over has to adhere to fluid dynamics, and therefore you can safely assume that the body of water is, to all intents and purposes, level. It's not bending.
Correct, but that's the way you set the trap, or at least I've found out in discussions. They'll claim it's curving, and they'll say, well, give me a secondary source that's actually happening, because I don't see that within this apparent horizon, which isn't even real. And then they'll say something, and I'll say, well, then I'll use water. And then they're dead.
Hang on. Probably doesn't realise he's on mute in the Hangout because he's watching a video.
Look at what I found.
Oh, is that you, Alan?
Yeah, I want to bring up a word that
Darwin. Sorry, I misread you. Sorry, 1 second, QE. Sorry, I misread. Thought it was a non and it's you, Arwin.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I can only put this up for a couple of seconds because it's not my video, but do you want to tell us what...
This is what YouTube suggested to me, and it's all... I muted it, and it has subtitles, so...
What is it, though? Why are you telling us about it?
It's a very detailed story in how the Big Bang worked. It's like this. It's this piece, basically. Scientists call it a perfect liquid. To grasp its importance, we go back to the primordial energy fields that theories has spawned the Big Bang.
It's important we go back.
It's the weakest force,
Hold
but
on.
it creates all the molecules. Ben.
It's important we go back. Is that what you just said, Darwin?
Back to the future.
Oh, look at this. In the ultra-dense quark-gluon mix, these fluctuations generated pressure waves.
Can I suggest a GoFundMe for a DeLorean so I could go back and come back?
Oh, density of matter.
Who's making all that noise in Discord?
Not gravity. No mention of gravity yet. They actually mentioned density.
Hello? Somebody in Discord's making a whole load of racket with their mic open. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
Yeah, I got a pretty interesting little citation from Zanuck yesterday, as we were talking about gas, and apparently he takes a picture out of his physics book and posts it in the Discord. So I'll post it right now in Master B. If I don't know, Paul or Arwin could get that for me.
Either of you on it? Not
On what? Sorry, I'm just enthralled by this Big Bang CGI.
Story about going back in time, which we must do apparently. Can you bring up what Chocolate's just about to post in Master B?
I'll do it. Just give me a second. I stepped away for a second.
Yeah, no, I'm first.
Good show with Paula yesterday. Quantum Eraser, exceptionally well produced. Kudos.
For me, the internet connection, the live connection, was terrible though. Constantly.
Nah, I found the problem. It's a signal to noise ratio in my modem. Guy's going to come out in an hour to fix it.
Oh, okay. It was fine for me. I had it running HD without flaw the entire show. Yeah, I bumped up the resolution to maximum, 1080 30 I think you've got it set to, and that's what it gave me, and I didn't have a single glitch. Anyway, I thought it was, based on the experience I had, I thought the show was very good. No complaints.
So the thing that Chocolate said is on Arwen's screen, so...
Oh, okay. You want to read it, Paul? Or Chocolate?
Okay. For the gas in a cylinder in a gravitational field discussed in section 12.4 show that G is, let's see, bigger than 0. The number of molecules per unit volume approaches the constant value n/v, and hence is the same at all elevations. In other words, the absence of a gravitational field, the molecules of a gas are distributed uniformly throughout the volume of a container. We need to read the rest?
I don't think it's necessary, is it?
No, not really.
Downward force
I just thought it was funny as... I'm sorry.
That's okay, I was just reading that last little section. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Yo. Hey.
So, Sam posted this?
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. I just thought it was funny that he posted something that 3-4 times mentions a container for gas. Well, 3 containers and 1 cylinder. And there's just one little 3-sentence citation.
Yeah, this one point, we need to just remember to add Pascal's law. If we can add Pascal's law to it so that we've got the science to support our assertion, they've got nowhere to go with it. We just need to add that Pascal's law bit.
Let's hear it. Just read out Pascal's law, recite us.
Gas pressure exerts itself in all directions against the walls of its container. So if the Earth is one wall, then where's the rest of the walls that create the pressure? But gas pressure behaves, it expands in all directions uniformly. Let me read it to you. Just remember Pascal's law. It says Pascal's law states that the pressure of a gas or a liquid exerts force equally in all directions against the walls of its container. Well, we know the Earth is one of the walls. So if the gas pressure is all heading away from it, then what's stopping it? Gravity. Yeah. Shut up, dickhead. It's not a force.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's already came up in chat. They're bringing up the atmospheric law, or Danny T's been bringing that up over the last little bit.
Yeah, it still complies with Pascal's law.
Anthony, doesn't that represent a problem for us too? If we claim to have a container?
No. Say that again. Why does it present a problem to us? Because what?
Because if it's can you repeat what is the definition?
Pascal's law states that the pressure of a gas or a liquid exerts force equally in all directions against the walls of its container. Well, we can all agree that the Earth would be one wall. So where are the rest of the walls to get the pressure? You have to have walls to get the pressure, but there's only one wall on the Earth because it's an open system. So that means the gas pressure is only going in one general direction. All right, it's crossing paths periodically throughout the way, but none of it's going back down to Earth because it's all bouncing off the Earth to give us the pressure that we're breathing. But it's all heading away from the Earth, as the demonstration shows. Turn off the gravity, and it fucks off into space. We just need
What's gravity? What's gravity?
Who cares?
It's a switch you can turn off and turn on, I guess.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It's a switch. We can turn it on and off.
No.
And it's just weight, QE. Did you know that? It's just weight. It's a downward direction. That's what it is.
No,
there
it's
you
not.
go.
No.
Just weight.
So gravity is a not actual force. So a non-force or force that you can think of as a force, but's not actually a force, called gravity, that's been brought forth by the bending of the fourth dimension in pseudo-Riemannian force space, which would be space-time, a conceptual medium. So by bending this concept, you give rise to a non-force called gravity.
But don't you know, Nathan, that weight creates forces? Come on. You know, you put things on a scale and it forces it down. So weight is a force.
That's fascinating. And ovens produce heat. That's lovely.
That's lovely.
Weight's only a force in mathematics.
Based on that law, how do we have the?
How do we have the what?
Guarantee he's going to say gradient.
Yeah, based on that law, if it's pushing equally on all directions, how do we have?
Going to be another one of those times where the critical part of your statement gets lost at the end of your statement for some unknown reason.
I'll try for him. I think he's saying, based on what Anthony just read, as the gas would push equally against the walls of the container. I think he's saying, how do we have a gradient? Did I get that right, SX?
Yeah. Yeah, how do we get the gradient? Then? If it's pushing equally in all directions,
we do live in a
how do we get
dynamic
the
system,
gradient, though?
right, SX?
But not even besides that, the dynamic system factor, you know, the relative density still applies. So the preponderance of denser gases will tend to converge at the bottom compared to the lighter gases at the top. And whatever else is going on, this remains a proven fact.
Which would be where all the gases are produced, right? At the bottom.
I mean, it makes sense.
As far as we can confirm, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's still a red herring fallacy.
Also,
It's still a red herring fallacy. You diverted away from the question. Our question is, how do you have gas pressure without a container? You are already invoking gas pressure when you say gas pressure gradients. That is, you are invoking delta X before you explained X. SX.
I'm not a Glover, John. So,
Doesn't matter. Your question is seating of your belief in regards to your question is irrelevant. Same with Spurs. It doesn't make any difference what side of the fence. If you're asking how you have a gas pressure gradient, then it doesn't address our question of how you have gas pressure in the first instance. How that develops in a dynamic system is also irrelevant because it doesn't answer the question. How do you have gas pressure in the first instance? And that's what Anthony's addressing. What would the gas do? And how would you have the gas?
Okay.
You'd have it.
Yeah, it just made me question.
My bad. It's not like I was nearly at the end of the concluding point to your question or anything, but you carry on, my bad. Sorry for being talkative and wanting to answer your question concisely without interruption. So sorry that I was talking while you were interrupting. My bad. I'll shut up. My bad. I was talking while you were interrupting. I'll shut up. My bad.
Yeah. Shut up. Yeah. Every fucking time you do this shit, it's not my fucking argument, okay? I'm a flat earther. I'm not arguing about that.
Listen,
he's not talking about the damn argument. He's talking about your constant interruptions. For crying out loud.
Yeah, it is your argument. You argued it. What are you saying? It's not my argument. What you mean you're putting it forth for someone else? I don't care. If Paul or you or 10th Man puts forward a Globehead Fundy argument, we'll take it to pieces. And the interruptions that come while you're playing devil's advocate make no sense. If you understand that this argument's been taken to pieces, why are you interrupting the concise demolition of it when I come to the conclusion?
I noticed that you don't understand when people are making. So, yeah. Carry on.
Broke up there.
Don't need to hear it.
Hey, Anthony, your egg and salt experiment didn't follow the scientific method.
Now we're talking.
God.
No. Go ahead. Why not, Mr. Giggles?
You didn't change just one variable. You let multiple variables change.
What?
Said you didn't only change one variable, you changed multiple variables. Correct, Mr. Giggles?
Really?
Are we talking about the egg experiment?
Yes, is Anthony here?
It's just on mute at the minute. Buying time at the moment.
Well, what other factors could he accidentally have been tinkering with his action to cause the displacement then? I don't think that the independent variable wasn't properly isolated in the setup.
I'm here.
Have the caller explain what he actually means first, because we don't know the detail that he's trying to say here.
Yeah, Riley's here.
You changed the density and the pressure gradient in the fluid. Therefore, the pressure gradient could be the cause too.
Sorry, say that again, but slower.
How do you very manipulate it?
Go ahead, Mr. Giggles.
You didn't stop the pressure gradient from changing. You changed at least two things at once. You didn't isolate your variables properly. It doesn't follow your scientific method. Therefore, your conclusion is wrong.
Yes,
what are you talking about? You don't know about my
Hold on,
egg
Anthony.
experiment?
Hold on. Yes, we heard your original claim. Then you mentioned gradient upon expanding upon your claim that you've now repeated. The repetition is of the expansion, not the original claim. Can you repeat the expansion you were asked for? Thank you.
You changed density and pressure gradient. You didn't properly control your variables. It's very simple from anyone who understands the scientific method.
So you said he's changed the density gradient and the density. Is that what you said?
You should do more listening, Nathan. He changed the density and the pressure gradient.
Density and the pressure gradient.
How did I change the pressure? How did I change the pressure?
Go ahead, Anthony. You answer it. Sorry.
Did I add or remove pressure when I changed something?
No, but the pressure gradient did change.
But then I didn't change two things, did I? I changed one thing, and that caused an effect.
You allowed something else to change too. You didn't control the thermal
What?
conductivity or the electrical conductivity either.
Oh my God!
So I
Density-
wow.
Hold on,
Density and
everybody,
pressure are directly
hold on,
proportional.
hold on.
In the-
Ah, God, everybody on the panel. I just want to hear Anthony and Mr. Giggles. Thank you.
So I added mass, and the increase in mass changed the pressure. That's the cause and effect relationship, is it not?
Yeah, but that wasn't the effect you're looking for. You were looking for a force on the egg, not pressure.
Right, so if I added mass, that was the cause, and the effect was the change in pressure, but the egg moved, then what's causing the egg to move? Because mass is not a force, you tell us, but pressure was the effect, and we know that pressure is a force. So what was the cause and the effect if the egg moved?
The cause was the change in pressure. So why don't you do an experiment where you change only the pressure gradient?
I didn't change the pressure, did I? I added mass.
You just said that you changed the pressure by adding mass.
Yeah, cause and effect.
I added mass, and the pressure changed as a result, and the egg moved. So what was the cause, and what was the effect?
The cause was the change of the pressure gradient. But what
I
caused
didn't
that?
change that, though, did I? I added mass.
Yeah, but then you didn't control for a change in pressure gradient properly.
So
Oh my
if I
God.
add mass, and the pressure changes as a result, isn't that therefore cause, mass, effect, pressure?
Yeah, so then the pressure is the cause of the egg rising, not the mass and not the density.
No, pressure's not the
Oh my
cause.
God.
I didn't manipulate pressure. I added mass. The cause is adding mass. The effect is the change in pressure, and we see that with the egg move.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah, but you
interlinked,
didn't
these
stop the pressure
effects.
gradient from changing. All you did was change the density, and you think that that's the cause.
No,
but you
I
didn't
added
control your
mass.
variables.
There you go. You just said it.
Just said it.
All he changed. All he did was change the density, like you just said, buddy. There
Correct,
you go.
Chocolate.
Thanks.
Correct.
You don't seem to understand what cause and effect is.
No, he doesn't seem to understand. He doesn't seem to understand density and pressure. That's what he doesn't understand.
Yeah, Anthony is very confused on that. I agree.
Okay, go ahead. Explain it.
Yeah, Anthony's very confused about density and pressure. I agree with that statement.
Not the statement. Explain those two things to us, please. Please don't give us a third repetition of your agreement with that statement, but your explanation of both pressure and... what was the other one? Density? Go ahead.
No, I'm just talking about his experiment. He didn't properly control the variables, so he hasn't isolated his cause.
I'll say it for the third time. You've said you agree he doesn't understand. Now I want to see your comprehension level, given that you've declared he doesn't understand. That would require you to understand, and now explain it to us to back that. So go ahead and explain these two things.
No, I'm not going to respond to any red herring fallacies. I'm just going to point out the flaws in Anthony's experiment and let him try to defend himself.
In my test, based on your own ignorance, because you don't realize that the thing that I manipulate is the cause and the observed effect is the effect. Now, we can't observe a change in pressure without a visual thing to show the effect of it, right? So when I add mass, that's my cause, and the effect that we see, the visualization of, is the egg moving. But as you correctly pointed out, that's pressure. But I didn't change pressure, I added mass. So adding mass changes the pressure, and we see it through the egg. That's what happened. It's not me that's not understanding, it's you.
Yeah, so what was the cause of the egg rising?
Adding mass.
Yeah.
No, you just said the cause was the pressure.
No, that was the effect.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it also caused the egg to rise, didn't it?
Yeah,
What?
no.
Hold on. What did?
causes the
Hold on,
egg to
Anthony.
rise.
Hold on. He's already said this once. What did? What caused it?
Anthony is changing what his presumed cause is all of a sudden. His presumed cause was
No.
a relative density change, and now he's saying that the cause of the egg rising is pressure.
His
No, no, no.
presumed... Hold on, Anthony. Hold on. Hold on. Everyone, hold on.
Pressure. Hold on. Pressure is directly proportional to density. You frigging clown.
Yep.
Prove it.
Prove
Oh
it.
my god.
What do you think it? What do you think the experiment proves? You changed.
This guy
the
already
Anthony
said
doesn't know
that
the
Anthony
scientific
changed the
method.
density in the experiment. He is just trying to now cop that, oh, he didn't actually change the density, he changed the pressure.
Yeah, but
Not
the
understanding
pressure
there's
is
a
an
difference.
expression of the
Exactly,
density.
but
It's
he
a
doesn't
direct
understand that.
chain
He's
link.
trying to say, yeah, but he's trying to say because the pressure changed that Anthony didn't correctly isolate what he was trying to manipulate in that experiment.
I did.
But he did.
Yes, that's
So-
exactly right. You're very smart.
So you're saying he should have isolated the effect that he was trying to cause?
No.
No, he should have
Isolated
isolated
pressure.
his independent variables better.
No, he should. What he's trying to say, Nathan, is that Anthony should have isolated pressure. He's treating pressure and density as different.
They are different.
They are fucking different, dude. God damn it. This is what happens when you have a dietitian teach you fucking science.
Proportional clown show.
Pressure
Let
and
me
density
say
are
it one more
entirely
time.
different. You fucking...
Pressure. Oh my god.
Kosho, what's the matter with you back there, bro? You all right?
All right.
What you cursing
I'm
about
fine.
back
I would
there?
stop
You have
listening to
something to
this dude if I
say?
were you.
Pressure
When someone
is
says that,
finally
that's a red flag to
grew a
stop
fucking
listening.
pair to say something. Congrats, Kosho. You finally fucking grew a pair, you little bitch.
I wouldn't listen to Sanic either, Kosho.
Okay. So,
Wow.
Mr. Giggles. Hold on.
Some real pain going on there. in this one.
Hold on. Mr.
Hold on,
Giggles.
hold on.
Can you still hear us? So, I asked you to define these two things, and you said you weren't going to entertain a red herring fallacy. Can we move on from there?
Yeah, Anthony, you just need to do the experiment better. You need to change the pressure.
Yeah, I said I didn't want a third repetition of that shit. So you've just ignored me. I've asked you to define these two things, and you've just given us a third repetition that he needs to do it correctly. You're useless, Mr. Giggles. You have nothing to offer, it seems.
Well, sorry.
I'd like for him to tell us what the control variable that was changed.
I know, I
between...
get what he's
Arwen,
just
I'm
being
talking.
pedantic.
He's not talking to you, Arwen.
I think
Arwen, can I please talk? I'd like for Mr. Giggles to explain the control variable that was different in the first and the second when prior to adding the mass. What did he do different? Come on, Mr. Giggles. What did he do different to violate the control variable in the second after he added the mass?
Crickets. Chirp, chirp.
This all boils down to not understanding the density and pressure. As you increase density is directly proportional to pressure.
Yep.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. I even explained it in my elaborate explanations of how relative density actually manifests. Because, hey, if there's no more maneuvering room for a body to move, it will start to exert pressure in its arrested position. So it's always, the displacement is also pressure. That's what the disequilibrium does.
Admirably demonstrated in Anthony's experiment. Correct, Darwin. Correct, QE. Yeah, right on.
And can I just say, Arwen, I hate it when you do that, but on that one occasion, it was eloquent. The rest of the time, it's dick move, but it was cool then.
Arwen's really concise in his summary of relative density disequilibrium recently. He's getting more and more concise with it. Someone trimmed it out the other day.
Yeah. Hey, I'm totally with you, man.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you. But normally, when you do this online, you normally do it just at the point where the guy's cornered and he's got twatted and he realizes he's got to run away. And then you pipe up and start trying to help him in some kind of like fantasy way.
Yeah, he hasn't done that for a couple of months. It's been at least a couple of months since he's done that. He'll probably do it again now you've mentioned it, though.
No, he does it. He does do it. But my point is that...
he does, but sorry, I've got to cut you off. I'm just really sorry, because he's made it clear in the past that he does that because of our behaviour towards him, just to piss us off. And the thing with Arwen is he always drops his disclaimers in about why he's doing things. When he's speculating, he drops in his disclaimer that it's not necessarily true, etc., etc. And in that instance, when he was doing that, he made it overtly clear. I remember it really distinctly. Him saying, "I'm only behaving like this because you guys are treating me like dirt at the moment." And not letting me. So, just saying.
Yeah, that's okay. But I was giving him credit then.
Yeah, I don't often defend Arwen. I know you were giving him credit, but it came with a backhanded insult, right?
Well, me and Arwen are actually on the same... Do you remember when me and Arwen had that like one-on-one? All about relative density and gravity.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And at that time, we were totally against each other. But somehow, we've ended up on the same page.
Definitely. Oh, that was brilliant. That was a brilliant time in the debate when you two were at loggerheads, because out of that pile of crap came some sweet-smelling roses, which now get rattled off quite frequently by Arwen in terms of his explanation. I mean, he can give it far more concise than I can.
Yeah.
What we should do, Arwen, is sit back and we should have a hang.
What was the cause of the egg rising? Was it relative density or was it pressure gradient?
Oh, here we go.
Oh my God.
Hey, Mr. Giggles. So, we got to the point where we were asking you to define...
Response, Anthony.
We were trying to define terms with you.
Can I respond for just 1 second to that in a moment? Yeah, a pressure gradient is not relevant to the displacement of matter due to its relative density. Because the relative density at the equilibrium direction is always going to be the same. So it has no influence, the gradient.
Prove it. That's a
Not a
hypothesis.
relevant variable.
He doesn't know, like, again,
you cannot have,
oh my God, how many times are we going to go over this?
Then you can,
he doesn't know the difference.
Cannot,
he doesn't know the relationship between density and pressure for the 10th time.
No, I know it perfectly well. I think you guys are a little confused on it because Anthony just did doublespeak. He said he changed the presumed cause in his experiment all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's what you do.
No.
That's what you do.
That's what I said in my video.
He changed from density to pressure.
No.
So which is it, a relative density or pressure?
In my video, I identified what the independent variable, the presumed cause, was. Do you remember what I said that was?
relative.
Adding mass.
Okay, so mass all of a sudden can make things move.
Increase the density of the fluid with mass.
Riley, the whole experiment was to prove that relative density is a thing. It makes things.
Yes, that's why he changed the
Now you're saying
density.
that it's pressure.
You destiny idiot.
Yeah, he
You
changed.
do realise that because I can't change the egg density, right? The only other thing I can do is change the medium. And my hypothesis was if I change the medium, the egg will move.
John,
Doesn't
you
matter
get
which
hit in the
way,
head with-
doesn't matter how fast, doesn't matter how far, just that it moves. And it moved. And I changed it.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah, but.
You choose to.
You're breaking up really
Yeah,
bad,
what was
dude.
the cause of it moving?
Hold on.
Say that again.
There's a bit of an issue. The server owner's causing a bit of Discord rumpusing, so I don't really know how to handle this situation.
What's up?
I said the server owner's causing a bit of audio kerfuffle. Maybe she's unaware. Oh, she's figured it out. Happy to have you here. Pleasure. Thank you for the services you offer.
Shout out to Betty Sittings and her server. Flat Earth debate, science versus pseudoscience. Can we get back to? Are we done with this discussion?
No, far from.
Okay, sorry.
I think I need to hear at least 4 more times that Anthony didn't do the experiment correctly. I think we need to hear that asserted, surely.
Yeah, you didn't change the gradient. Didn't change the gradient, so it's a failure.
Oh, his argument. Oh my God. You guys live around power lines?
Nope.
You mainlining fluoride?
No.
His
can we have closure?
Oh my God! Now I'm getting up to play Anthony.
Oh my God.
One of you, Anthony or QE, I don't care who.
Okay, let me just explain his argument succinctly. He's saying that Anthony left pressure alone. He didn't account for it. He just changed the density. Thanks.
And I'm saying that that was the effect of adding mass because we see it in the egg. You can't see changes in pressure in liquid. You can infer it by maths and calculation, but you need a visualization. And that's what the egg was. The egg was a visualization of the effect of changing of pressure by adding mass.
The pressure is a secondary effect.
Secondary?
Doesn't directly involve the displacement.
I'm wondering if
doesn't
this
need
guy
the egg
understands
to-
that
he
the
doesn't need
water
the
was
egg.
more dense after adding the salt than before.
Yeah, ask him that.
Do you appreciate, Mr. Wiggles or Giggles, that the liquid was more dense after adding material added?
Essay.
Just repeat the question. Do you appreciate that the liquid, the medium in this experiment, was more dense upon adding the salt?
Yoo-hoo! Essay!
Right, when we're making a different point, he'll pipe up and tell us that Anthony didn't do the experiment correctly.
Well, we
gonna
offered
wait
them.
for that, or can we move on?
In conclusion, displacement or movement of the egg was caused by a change in the density of the medium as per the valid hypothesis put forward by Sleeping Warrior, Anthony Riley. Hypothesis confirmed. No gravity involved.
that it?
That's it.
Maybe he's passing.
So this pregnant pause, is it because he's not listening or is it because he's thinking?
Don't know.
He's not in chat.
Can we move on?
He's not here, Anthony. He's not here. He left.
Thanks. He left. That's great. Can we get other people to tell us that he left, please? I need at least 4 more. Thanks.
I think he left.
Stop being a dick, John.
Did he actually leave?
Here we go. This is gonna end.
Why are you always a dick with me, John?
Because he's a fucking diva.
Yeah,
I don't do anything to him. I don't know why he's like that to me, man. I have never done anything to him.
It's John's unique way of expressing it like he likes you.
How much does he get paid?
He doesn't behave like that with me, and he says he actually likes me. So I don't know where you're getting that from.
He did do initially. He must have done. He does it to everybody.
No, chocolate.
No.
If he's gonna take it back and not mute me, I don't have no problem. You know. The problem is that if I start answering back in the same way, he's gonna mute me.
Who's gonna mute?
I mean, he's gonna be insulting.
Who's gonna mute? I'm not even in Discord, you freaking clown.
I know you're not in Discord.
Then how
You
can
have
I
mute.
mute
You're the only
you?
one who has muted me so many times.
It's not me.
Some of y'all gonna need to get tougher skin, man. Y'all would have survived a day in New York. All this softness.
Do I got like some sort of telepathy or something?
Are you talking to me, Chocolate, about getting thicker skin?
Oh my god!
Not just you, a bunch of y'all. He's so mean. Like, get over it. It's not that
This
serious.
goes to you too, my man. This goes to you too. You were talking about righteous and how it hurt your feelings and shit like that the other day. So it goes to you too.
Do you want an
All
answer?
right.
Do you want an answer question?
What?
Do you want an answer?
I need an answer to that question, Nathan.
I just want to see if you want an answer to that question or not, SX. In regards to QE specifically, although by the sounds of things, you've just triggered Chocolate as well. But do you want an answer? Why does he treat you the way he does? I'll give you an answer with a specific example that happened in the last 30 seconds, if you want it.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So in the last 30 seconds, you've thrown out a baseless assertion that was challenged. Can you remember what that baseless assertion was?
That he muted me?
Right. Now, in the interim stages, without any rebuttal or address, it's just been moved past with a new assertion attacking Chocolate. So if that was you and someone had just laid out some baseless assertion and then moved on to a different member of the panel without rebuttal or address to him saying, I can't remember his response now, but words to the effect of, I'm not even in Discord, would that not annoy you to the point where you might get a little bit more annoyed? And then if that continually happened throughout, say, a show about debating the nature of Earth, by the end you'd be fuming mad. Can you appreciate that?
All right. Can I explain now?
It depends. If you're going to explain and justify why you claimed he muted you, which isn't what I want, then no. But if you can
he can be rude. He can be rude. That's what he's trying to say. He's being rude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm explaining that when you throw out a baseless assertion, regardless of what the accusation is, which I don't want to hear justified, I'm not interested in what the baseless assertion was, but not letting it be addressed is cause for people to get annoyed.
It's not a baseless assertion. The 2 times I've been muted is when he was here and he got angry at me by responding to his insulting statements, and he in only Righteous and John were the mods on that time, and Righteous didn't mute me, so it was John. Obviously, there's no baseless assertion.
You said it in present tense. When you made the first assertion, it was most definitely made in present tense, as in you'll just mute me now. You didn't say now, but it was phrased in present tense, wasn't it?
That's a language barrier because I don't know to speak really good on the past, present.
In that case,
sentence,
I'll breathe. I'll let it slide.
Nathan.
Unless QE wants to tear a strip off you, I'll let it slide. Fine. I concede. Breathe out.
Go defend Plasmoid Boy. Oh, speaking of which, has anyone seen him? I heard that he hasn't been around.
Who, Grim?
Yep.
I didn't give it a second thought, to be honest, but he's not here now. That's for sure.
Yeah. They haven't. He hasn't showed up. He was trolling friggin' 24/7 until our little interlude the other day. So I was just wondering, where you at, Grim V, Plasmoid boy, knucklehead Ken Wheeler?
Probably at work. Probably making some money.
I'd like SX to repeat what he was trying to say before about me.
Yeah.
Can we get back to that?
Forgot about that. Go ahead,
Real quick.
Sure.
Can we get back to that fuck shit?
All right, you say.
Yeah.
What did you just said?
Can we get back to that fuck shit that you just said before? What were you trying to say?
All right. You said you guys need to grow a thicker skin, and I say, well, this goes for everybody, right? And and I don't know what else you said, but I back it up with the statement that you said the other day, that the only one who has like hurt your feelings or got angry at it was righteous or whatever. We were talking about this.
SX.
That's why I say, well, you need to
First of
grow a
all,
thicker
do you
skin
have
too,
the right chocolate saying you're talking to?
Huh?
Do you have the right chocolate saying? Are you speaking to the right person? And Righteous, if you're here, I need you to mic up real quick so we could nip this shit in the bud.
Are you the same one that goes to the 24/7? Then maybe it's my mistake. Maybe I'm fucking up right now.
All right, Righteous, have you and I ever had a problem?
I don't recall it.
Righteous
Right.
hand? No, right. What's that? Right? What? Right the hand? No, Righteous. Right the hand.
SX has a problem. He keeps saying my name for some reason often when he means somebody else.
Say my name, bitch.
Okay, we can move past that. So he means right the hand, not righteous force. Just to
Right the hand, that piece of shit.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I mean,
So what about him?
Are you scared of his truth?
What about him?
Scared?
No, I say we all get our feelings hurt once in a while. Chocolate. There's like, don't say that we need.
Oh
to
yeah,
grow a thicker
but
skin
he's never
when
hurt my
we all do
feelings.
it, you know?
I could give the slightest shit about right the shit. Okay?
You do realize that right the hand has been blackballed by everybody.
I could give the slightest, the smallest, a mole of a fuck about right the hand.
Damn,
That's not what we're.
You got chocolate
That's not what
triggered.
we are arguing right now, right, Chocolate?
Yeah, so
that's not the
what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, you guys say here like, "Oh my God, John's so insulting, he's so insulting." That guy is a piece of shit.
Well, I mean,
and you don't hear me talking about that,
the
right?
same
Like
about
it's
John.
brought up. We're blasting it out now because you want to bring it up. Have you ever heard me sit here and have feelings about right the shit? I mean,
It's
right
like
the hand.
Iche on meth.
Yeah,
Point,
exactly.
My God, you guys have a hard time keeping up with the point. The point here is that you are calling people to grow a thicker skin when you have done the same thing. Complain about other person hurting your feelings. That's the point. I don't care if you give a shit or not about right the hand. I don't care.
Can you quote me where I said my feelings were hurt? SX0. Can you quote me where my feelings were hurt?
Oh no. Well, okay. So now, no,
you can't.
you didn't say it
all right.
specifically. Yeah, no.
Because I never said that.
What
no
is
grown man
Can
has
you
hurt
quote
my
me when
fucking feelings.
Can you quote me when I say my feelings were hurt right now? Can you quote me?
What is the point? What is your
I
point?
can only remember one time that I actually heard.
Oh my God!
Shut up, John. This is between me and Chocolate right now.
What is your
Can you
point?
quote me? Can you quote me,
What
Chocolate?
is your point, SX?
It seems to
Don't
me
get
SX
involved,
has got-
John. Can you
I agree.
quote
What's
me,
the
Chocolate?
point of this? I was going to step in at some stage, and I'm glad Kiwi's got there before me. I totally agree. What's the point of all this?
Thank you.
What's the point? Was there a point, SX, for this little kerfuffle that we've just had?
Yeah, he doesn't need to say that we're getting our hurt. Hurt and shit.
Yeah, it's called gaslighting.
I
Dummy.
never say that.
But Take your go find another forum. Take that snowflake nonsense away. We're not here to argue about your
Fuck you,
feelings.
John. Is John the only one?
fruitcake.
Is John the only one who can insult people here, or what's going on?
Yes, the after show. We're not live. Far less stressful.
Say again?
We're not live, so I'm a bit less fussed about there being swearing when it's not a live show.
Oh, I thought it was live. I need an audience. I need a big room.
Okay, I'm on mute.
Where's your plasmoid boy at? SX, SA, where's your plasmoid boy?
I don't know. I don't agree with his arguments, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I'm not a Glover,
You were
man.
surely trying to support that
You guys
knucklehead the other day.
Okay,
I didn't try to support. I was trying to hear. You guys didn't let him make his argument.
Oh, we didn't. What was his argument?
I don't know. I didn't hear it because you guys didn't let.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know why that is?
I don't know because you guys didn't let him. I don't.
We did.
How am I gonna know what his
because you
argument?
didn't listen.
We did. We
That's
did
why
hear
you
his
don't
argument.
know.
We heard him out. We heard what he had to say.
All right.
I heard his argument. I heard it.
I could recite it to you if you want me to.
What was
SX.
it, Chocolate?
If you want better clarity on his argument, I can recite it to you if you want me to.
I mean, I don't agree with him, so I don't really care. You know.
How do you know if you agree
a
with him if you
Glover.
didn't hear his argument?
Well, he is the one
Keep
that
digging this
that
hole.
claims that
Put down the shovel.
that he claimed.
How could you disagree with
He's
him when you didn't
part
know
of
his
the
argument?
ones that claim.
Shut up. How could you disagree with him if you didn't know his argument?
I don't know his argument from that day. I know what.
Then how
he
could you
believes
disagree
in.
with
He
him?
believes in the globe.
How can you disagree?
Damn it.
His argument in that regards wasn't in
He's
regards
a Glover, Nathan. I disagree with that. He's
Answer
a
the
Glover.
question.
Stop digging.
The point is, if you don't know something, you can't disagree with it. That was the same point we made with, coincidentally, Grim V. So he's saying, I don't agree with the cause asserted in the double split, idiot, experiment. Well, I asked him what the cause was, and he didn't know. So to assert that you don't agree with something that you don't know or understand is insanity. It's ludicrous. But we're saying, if you're bleating about not hearing enough of Grim V's argument to understand it, how could you know that you disagree with it? If your answer is because he's a glober, his argument wasn't centered around a spherical Earth. It was around the atmosphere and how it's contained next to a vacuum with double layer plasmoids.
Tell me, what do I disagree with him about? Have I make any claim?
Yeah, you said you don't
about
agree
what
with him.
is my
Yes.
disagreement with him.
Yes, you said you don't agree with him. That's what you said. And you also mentioned that you didn't hear his argument. The two things are in contradiction.
Say I don't agree with him. Yeah, I don't agree with him.
Right.
How would you know if you don't know what he said?
Because he's a Glover. I don't agree with him. Like he goes for the globe thing.
But his
I
argument
don't
wasn't
agree
in
with that.
regards to the sphericity of the planet. He wasn't begging that particular question in this regard. His argument was about gas pressure and its containment by way of double layer plasmoids demonstrated on a small scale. And then surreptitiously, under the radar, covertly or overtly to us, because we picked up on it, asserting that that applies to our entire atmosphere, which he couldn't demonstrate.
Okay.
Well, we heard that argument. I had no vague notion of plasmoids having double layers on the small scale, or that anybody ever would assert that that means our entire atmosphere behaves like that. I've never heard that, other than what Grim V put forth and I heard. But apparently you didn't, to the point where you need to bleat about it.
I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, I don't agree I don't agree with him. His statements of being a ball and all that, the electricity. That day I was trying to hear his argument. I mean, I wasn't able to.
You know what you should say? You should say, "Yeah, you're right, Nathan. There's no way that I could claim to disagree with something I haven't even heard."
Yeah, you're right, Nathan. What?
Don't worry about it, SX. That's why I lost my rag with you when Grim was here. Because you're... I hate to be rude. If you take this badly, don't take it personally. You were struggling to keep up with the concept of the conversation in hand, and therefore you were interrupting because while you didn't understand the claim, we were well on to demolishing it while you were trying to ascertain what the claim was. We'd already got it. You hadn't. That's not your fault. But you needed more information to wrap your head around the concepts he was laying down, and we didn't. That was the bottom line. That's why we ended up at loggerheads with you.
All right.
Wasn't it in the medium, in the middle of that time when Grim was claiming that you didn't need a cause for an experiment? Isn't that why you were losing
I even
your
asked
shit
you
at
the
him?
other day, right, Chocolate?
Huh?
I asked you the other day what was the cause for that experiment, right, Chocolate? Didn't I?
I said it at the end of that stream.
So I wasn't able to hear it that day.
But I said it. I
The double
muted-
the
I
double
said it.
slit, the
SX,
double slit,
SX.
Nathan.
SX. At the end of the stream, after asking
And
Grim V...
the Pat.
the end of the stream, after asking Grim V about 37 times what the IV was in the double slit experiment, I asserted it with everyone on mute just before I did the round out. I gave the IV. Clear as crystal.
Well, at that time you were angry at me and calling me names and everything, so I stopped listening. I don't know.
Feelings.
Yes, okay.
There we go.
Chocolate, go ahead. You can have this moment as that was directed at you originally. But yeah, right on, man. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
man.
Chocolate.
Man. I'm good.
We're all guilty of it,
What
SX,
did you?
but
What did he just say? What did you just say, Chocolate?
I'm going to break it down for you. So the problem is, SX, right? In many instances, when people are bleating, it's actually something known as projection. You know what projection is?
Anybody hear what he's saying?
Projection.
No.
Can't hear me?
I think the Hangout can, maybe they can't.
Really?
I guess.
Yeah, let's just refresh my Discord. There's obviously an issue. Damn, right at the point where we're talking about how people project their own failures onto others in their bleatings. We'll see if we get it in. Earth to Discord after show.
Yeah, we hear you, Nathan.
Loud and clear.
Hallelujah. So we were chuckling, SX, because we'd reached the point where you'd basically admitted that it was your feelings about the matter that had got in the way here. And that was kind of what you were leveling.
I admitted it was my feelings. How did I admit that?
You don't remember you saying that John was insulting you and you got mad and you stopped listening.
Well, do you think I'm gonna be listening to Nathan calling me names?
Or Grim giving his
I'm not that fucking idiot, man. I'm not stupid.
Or Grim give his explanation that you're now accusing me of not letting through. Maybe you just switched off because of your feelings.
Is this a flat Earth debate or what?
No, we're here to counsel people. This is someone sharing his pain. This is very serious. At the end, we're all going to have a hug.
After the fact, Nathan. That was after the fact. When you start talking to me, it was after you didn't let him make his point or whatever. You already explained that.
SX, you're missing the point, SX.
But
He had already made.
After you start calling me names and everything, I didn't get my feelings hurt. But hold on, I didn't get my feelings hurt or anything. I'm not gonna listen to it. No, I can care less about.
Go ahead, Chocolate.
Yeah, you're missing the point. Is that we all heard what Grim was saying. I apologize if you did not, right? But we heard it, which is why we were tearing it apart. And then in the middle of that, you're jumping in like, but he's not making a point. He's not making it. That you don't understand how that could be slightly frustrating.
Well,
not to be directed at you, but you keep jumping in like, oh, but Nathan, you're not letting. But Nathan, when Nathan's trying to destroy this guy, like you understand that's a little crazy, right?
I see a chocolate, but this. Yeah. But this happens so often here on the Discord, man. We lost track of what you guys are saying.
I get it. I know Discord sucks sometimes. I get it.
You lost track of what who was saying? What we were saying?
Like no, Nathan. I said this happens so often that we lost. Like when you're saying a sentence or anything, like the half cuts or something.
When I'm saying a sentence, that's when Nathan says something, you can't hear it. Now that's not because of me. That's because Grim will never shut up, and you don't get to hear the rebuttal. So, whose fault is that, SX? Mine? That you can't hear me? Because Grim will never shut up and Discord rumpuses? Is that my fault?
Grim?
Yeah, you've just explained that you can't hear what I'm saying in response to Grim. And I'm saying, the fact that Grim never shuts up and you can't hear a word of the response, is that my fault or Grim's fault?
Grim's fault?
So, why are you telling me this? Why is it that you're interrupting and telling me during that particular occasion that I should be shutting up because you can't hear a word of what I'm saying because Grim's Discord rumpusing? That's the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you feel while Grim's Discord rumpusing that you should interrupt the live show to tell me that I'm not giving Grim an opportunity to put his case forward. That's what happened.
Okay, Nathan.
Do you not see that as totally unreasonable from my position? When I am listening?
Not at all.
Well, so far I've demonstrated that I absolutely did listen to his case. And while I was taking it apart, you hadn't kept up with the conversation and couldn't hear any of the rebuttals because there was Discord rumpusing from Grim. But yet you felt it was more appropriate to interrupt me and tell me that I'm not letting Grim's explanation through. When in reality, he's made his explanation, it did come through, I was responding to it, but you couldn't hear that response because Grim wouldn't shut up. But you attacked me, not Grim.
Okay, Nathan, I don't know what else to say. I mean, you're right.
I'm sorry, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just say my bad and we can move on, bro. It's just not that serious. The feelings. Let's leave the feelings for the Globers who have to share their pain.
There's a conclusion. I didn't want an apology. The conclusion is in regards to your original question. Why would somebody get annoyed and start shouting at you and being horrible to you or being insulting or swearing and all that stuff? Well, here's an elongated half-an-hour dissection of a circumstance that befell us, where you were interrupting me, telling me that I couldn't get Grim's point come to the audience, when in reality it had, and you couldn't hear the response from me, because Grim was talking all the time, and that led to me tearing a strip off you, probably with a few insults chucked in. But in reality, this isn't my problem. It's not only not my problem, it's your problem with someone else. In this instance, Grim. Now that circumstance is generally going to lead either me or Quantum Eraser or the person that's actually got the winning demolition trying to just come through, but all this aside nonsense is happening, in this instance because of USX. Yeah, all I want to do is rip Grim's claim to pieces. That's it. But that's not happening because Grim's interrupting me and you feel it necessary to interrupt me with an apparent allegation that I'm not letting his point through while I'm demolishing it. That's unreasonable and going to get you shouted at or piss somebody off. Happens to QE almost every time he opens his mouth.
Well, my intention was never malicious to keep you from making your point. I was just trying to understand the
I'm
argument.
not saying it is. My point in this elongated explanation is that all I want to do, or in a juxtaposition with QE's original position that he was in or found himself in about half an hour ago, where I'm like, well, you've made a baseless assertion, then we've moved on. That's one little step to getting your blood boiling. By about the 50th, yeah, well, bearing in mind QE's been here since 2016, and this non-stop flow of discord rumpusing, interruptions, evasion of the point, segueing away from someone who can't comprehend the conversation or realise that somebody's taking the original assertion to pieces that's been made, all of that leads to the annoyance of the person that simply wants to make the point concisely. And they're stopped by someone who doesn't understand, someone that thinks there hasn't been a point been made by the opposition, or feels that the opposition who's discord rumpusing should get more of an opportunity to rumpus the shit out of the rebuttal that's just trying to be made by me or QE or Sleeping Warrior or Chocolate Saiyan or Arwin. They're just trying to make our concise rebuttal, and it's being stopped by whoever, for whatever reason. That's frustrating. We just want to make our point. Can't have double layer plasmoids on the small scale applied to the big scale because he says so. That's the point. Nice and concise. Now it's all calm with an half an hour dissection of people's feelings and whether or not someone understood the point that was being made by the asshole rumpusing Grim V. All of that crap is irrelevant to the point. You can't have plasma layers on the small scale holding gas pressure without a container. That's his assertion. It got taken to pieces. With loads of discord rumpusing and crap in between. The actual claim, here's plasmoids showing double layers on a small scale. My claim is that applies to the entirety of our atmosphere. No, it doesn't, because you can't demonstrate it. The fact that it applies on this small scale doesn't mean that plasma, which can't contain gas, will contain gas on the big scale. That's a nonsense assertion that we took apart, or I just did, in about 25 seconds. You can't do that. It takes a 3.5 hour show to actually do that with all the interruptions. And therein lies the reason why you get people like yourself getting shouted at or called idiots and told to shut up. Or asked what their bloody point is, how it's relevant when it's a 5 times segue away from the original assertion. No, your plasmoids don't contain gas without a container.
Nathan and QE are so mean to me.
Yeah, SX, why don't you just say, Nathan, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you and I thought you were being a dick.
I don't want it. I don't care about it. I don't need an apology. I've got thick enough skin to not care.
Well, he was wrong. That's the point. His
Do I owe an apology?
How Grimby speaking, he did.
Technically, yes. I could easily angle and go, the normal sneery Nathan, hammed up to the max to go, you deserve an apology, Nathan. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to. I don't care. It's useful, this discussion now, to dissect the garbage discussion that goes in between the actual points is useful. So this is a prolonged unpacking of the process of getting to one single point that, without interruption, on topic with everyone focused on the subject at hand, can be concisely summarised in about a minute. But that's not going to happen if someone interrupts and says, you haven't let him make his point, as you did. Well, what, while I'm demolishing it? I'm in the middle of debunking it. Or when QE's trying to unpack something that somebody says, and you get a whole load of discord rumpusing then. Or the fifth assertion of the same claim without cowbell, over the top of your rebuttal. That's what we deal with. And that's frustrating. It's going to get people annoyed. We're human.
May I share a word here in this pod?
No! Shut up, 10th man! Can you stop being so bloody triggered?
Fucking triggered 10th man.
Somebody kick him out. I've had enough.
Time for fun.
4 more hours.
Let me,
4 more hours.
I'm so
4
triggered.
more
Let me get off.
puns.
I'll come back as 11th man, okay? And then maybe I could do it. Okay, here's what I want to share. Hang on, let me share it. Do you think that was a joke?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good, tough man.
QE put up on the screen a definition for plasmoid characteristics. Grimm saw it. We all saw it. And here's what it said. The pressure must be balanced by an external confining pressure. In a field-free vacuum, for example, the plasmoid will rapidly expand and dissipate. Huey destroyed his whole argument with that citation, and Grimm V kept talking.
Perfect. The most concise summary. Just what I needed to round out the show. Thank you very much, 10th Man. And with that, you know what I'm going to do? Just in case, so I don't get an earful. Did you have something to add, QE?
I want to add
No,
something.
not at all.
No,
Oh,
I was actually gonna add real quick that
Go ahead.
I don't know if anybody caught it, but in the middle of that, as he's presenting that to you, right? We're reading off the wiki, and Nathan says, "I understand this," and Grimm himself said, "Would you understand it? Because I don't even understand it." Did anybody catch that?
I didn't catch that, no.
No, I didn't catch it either.
Yeah, he said, Nathan, you understand this? Because I don't even understand it. And then it just got brushed off kind of quickly. I heard that. And I started laughing, but nobody really caught it. And we just kept going. But he was presenting something that he doesn't even understand. At least that's what he said in the recording. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, go ahead.
Did you want to add to it, Paul?
Yeah, I just want to say.
Wait a second. It was QE.
Oh, was it?
No, I just want to say I live in a Paralyzed, and been on mute this whole time. That's all I want to
say. You live under power lines. That was a worthy interruption.
Nathan says, "Okay, that does QE want to add anything?" And I get rumpus by my own people. I start to say something, somebody else starts talking.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive. No, I'm only joking. Go ahead.
No, I didn't want to add anything. No, I don't want to add anything. Thanks, Chocolate. Oh yeah. Oh wait.
But I was the one adding something. He thought you were.
Nathan.
That's what. Oh man.
Nathan. Who's next? There we go. I knew it had to be somebody else. Go ahead.
Nathan, shut up a minute. Give me the mic a minute. Nathan, are you there?
Yes,
I'm on move.
Yes.
Do you have a pre-arrangement that you might have forgotten about?
No, I'm on with Robin and who am I on with? I know Robin. He said someone else though.
All right, so you've not forgotten about it.
No.
Right. Okay, he's not forgotten about it. Is he late?
I said I'd be about.
What is this, Carrie?
This is shop talk, right? Right on when I'm trying to round out the show.
Yeah, and I had one more thing left.
Hang on, before you go there.
God.
Every time Nathan says QE, I think he means
really
it's my QE to talk.
I don't
of
think
course, Anthony talks.
Okie dokie. All right. No worries.
Man, getting triggered.
See you later. Bye.
Why are we listening to Anthony?
No, I think he's on the phone.
He's on the phone with.
Somebody just found me saying Nathan's got a date, and people are trying to get in touch with him to touch base and confirm that he's not forgotten. And because he's not responding, they're thinking that he's going to let him down.
Yeah, I'm just trying to round the show out.
I know, but they didn't know that. You see.
To be continued tomorrow. Go ahead, Nathan.
I haven't got anything to add. I'm just waiting for everyone to round out so get out of QE's way. Another beautiful example of why, at the end of this, right, the next person that interrupts him is probably going to get called a crayon munching muppet or something, and this is why. This is perfect. Great, let it roll.
Go ahead. Share your pain, panel. When he asks QE if there's anything left, that means it's your time to chime in.
As I was trying to say, I thought it meant it was my QE to talk. I didn't know it was your name.
Yeah, Nathan, I wanted to bring up something before about a word that's been used flippantly, but we didn't get a chance to do it. So I'll just hold off until tomorrow. I'll bring up the word.
No, go ahead. I don't mind.
No, I'll just wait till tomorrow because I need a big room.
Okay.
I need some audience with it because it's a word that's used constantly by everyone, right? And most don't know what it means. So we'll go over tomorrow.
Oh, please.
No worries. Go ahead, close up.
Go on,
John,
go
when
on.
you say you need a big room, is it for your big ego?
Just go on, tell us what the word is. You can go on.
It's that big head.
I just want to hear the word.
Are you saying I got a big head?
Don't segue away. I just want to hear what the word is. Just say the word once, and then I'll round out.
No, because people go look it up and try to find out what it actually means.
Fair enough. It'll give the game away, and you want discussion to be ripe and fresh and all that.
Exactly. Spontaneous.
Fair enough.
You're such a tease.
He is. It's quite good. It's a cliffhanger for the end of the show. So with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another huge, enormous thank you to all of today's Discord and G+ panels for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!